Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day 3 of the Fixed Ops Roundtable Roaring 20s Second Swing event. Keen on everything automotive? You're in the right place. Here's the lady of the hour, Katrina Ness.
Good morning, folks. I'm Katrina Ness from Northwood University. Quit casting a kitten and get ready to wiggle on. So fluff your feather boas and do the Charleston because we're dancing into the Fixed Ops Roundtable's Roaring 20s Second Swing event. Eager to buzz in? The best way to mix and mingle is to join our speakeasy by using the chat feature on the right side of your screen. Just make sure to select everyone and not just hosts and panelists. Meet the big cheese from BG Products, Rob Leary.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. We are at Uber World Headquarters here in New York City, and our special guest today is Rob Leary, Director of Sales from BG Products. Ted, we've got a lot of really great questions today.
We really do. And Rob, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Great to see you.
Thank you, Ted.
Rob, to kick things off, I understand BG recently did a service retention study. Can you share some of your findings?
Yeah, it was. We did this about 6 months ago, and we actually used one of the largest customers in the world. You might be able to think of who that might be, but at about, I think it was about 269 dealerships, we did a retention study, and it's kind of fundamentally what we knew that BG stood for and what it did for our dealerships and their end customers, and that was we got about a 29% greater lift when they used BG products in their car versus when they didn't. So what that looks like is 29%. If you just think about General Motors did a study that said if you can get a 5% increase in your customer retention, service retention, you get a 25% increase in operating profit. So we're getting a 29% increase, not 5, but 29%. So what does that look like? Well, we just talked about it. Brian was talking about it earlier, Benstock, and he said that literally 20% of the market literally is all that is retained after the warranty expires on a vehicle, right? So think about that. That means 80% are defecting. Well, in the BG world with this particular customer, and again, they're across all brands. So it's not just Mercedes, not just BMW, it's all brands, Asian, domestic, high ends, everything. And when we did that study, that's what it revealed was 29%. We used our Hyper BI, which is our new intelligence tool that is able to report on all this stuff. But the way we really got there was we have within our menu, our digital menu, we have a thing called lifetime protection plan that's integrated into our digital menu. And the way that works is it looks at all the major systems of a vehicle. So engine, fuel, driveline, brake, cooling system, power steering to the extent it is still there, transmission. So all of those things, each of them has a protection plan tied to it. And so when we added the protection plan into our digital menu, after the customer leaves, they leave knowing, A, they've got protection. That could be up to $32,000 on a vehicle. If you did everything from your driveline, transfer case,
Sure.
front diff, rear diff, et cetera. Anyway, long story short is all of those features allowed us to bring that customer back because now the customer leaves knowing when they need to come back based on their mileage, right? So we have a digital platform that does a follow-up with them as well. And as a result, through that 263 dealerships, we're seeing a 29% differential from a customer that does BG versus a customer that doesn't, right? And that's really what it's all about for our dealers, right? Yeah, CSI is important, but retention is number one.
And Rob, BG recently won both the Ford and the GM fuel business. Talk us about that and how that's working out.
Yeah, pretty exciting. So GM was last year. Ford we got done earlier this year, back in September of 24. Both programs are going great. GM now, I think we have 67% of the market using our products in the GM world. The Ford world, about 53% of the market is now using our program, and we'll see those numbers increase. I think we'll get into hopefully in the 80s with General Motors and even into the 70s and 80s with Ford Motor Company on the fuel products. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff.
Your market share at BG is absolutely off the charts. There's nobody who has market share like you do.
Yeah, and I think that really stems from the format in which we operate. So we have a distributor model. I work for corporate. Our distributor model, think about this. If you added up all the DMS companies, all of the third-party companies that are out there, And all the reps that they have in the field, no one comes even close to BG. We have 800 plus reps in the field actively training and supporting our dealers. And we just don't find that anymore. The OEMs don't do that anymore. Third parties usually do it via support center. So we're actually physically in the dealership, training the techs, training the advisors, and training management.
And Rob, BG is now doing warranty analysis for dealers. Can you tell us how that's working?
Yeah, so new business for us, we've been at it for about 3 years. We've done over 1,000 dealers now. Last year, I think we did 324. Results have been nothing short of phenomenal. I think we're averaging right now about 155,000 annual lift in labor and about 128,000 annual lift in parts when we do the warranty analysis. So that's some huge money for our dealers. And we have about a 97% initial success rate, so which is critical for the dealers as well. You don't want to be having those things come back to you from the manufacturer. So huge business for us, and it's really helping us retain and also conquest business as well.
You really are the dealer's partner beyond products.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Great tagline, Ted. I should have used that.
But when you look at all that BG has, the business intelligence, the smart VMA, the menu system that you've got that's proprietary to BG, you really are light years ahead of everybody. Plus, you've got the distribution all here in the U.S. You own lock, stock, and barrel. You bought the shipping company.
Yeah.
For what is it, 55 years now or almost?
Yeah.
For BG in business.
Yeah.
And just an amazing success story.
Yeah. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So for folks who may not yet be on BG products, what's the best way for them to reach out?
They can reach out to our distributors locally. You can find that on BG Find a Shop, and you can find your distributor right there. So very simple. Or just contact me, 513-240-5689, or rleary@bgprod.com.
Very honored to have BG Products and Rob Leary with us, the leader in the industry. Sarah Van Tine are here with Rob at the World Trade Center in New York at Uber headquarters, and we will be right back.
Is your trolley in a twist? Don't cast a kitten because it will come to you with our mobile remote services and rideshare panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. We are at Uber World Headquarters here in New York at the World Trade Center. And Ted, today we are going to be talking about mobile service, remote service operations, and rideshare.
And Sarah, we have the leaders literally in the industry, so really fortunate to have them. Sarah, I'm going to let you go ahead and get the first question started.
All right, well, Ed, I want to come to you first because when you were talking about mobile service, what role is it playing in your fixed ops strategy today, and how are customers responding?
Mobile service is something that our customers have been asking for decades. We just never responded to it. And from the standpoint of the dealer standpoint, we focus on the glamour of the business, and the glamour of the business is the sales side. And the sales side may happen once every 5 years, depends on what that sales cycle is. But ultimately it takes hours, maybe days, sometimes weeks or months. But the ownership cycle is what takes time. And the ownership cycle is what we get an opportunity to visit that customer over and over and over again and truly build a relationship. And what better place to build that relationship than in a place that they're comfortable with in their own home. And when we can show up there, we own that customer forever. I could tell you what, I'm there to classify the customer so I could know what I could sell the next time. Whatever. No, we're there to build that relationship and create an opportunity to have a lifelong customer.
And Jim, thinking about the market here and what you're seeing, what role is mobile playing in your business?
Mobile service has been a big expansion tool for us. We've been able to expand our capacity in our service department without brick and mortar construction. So each bay, each van represents a bay on the road. It's a mobile bay. And the convenience level, as Ed said, you're meeting the customer on their terms, on their location, whether it be their home, their work or their place of business. It's a convenient transaction that repeat and referral business really kicks in high gear at that level. So the expansion and the convenience level is really where our focus is with mobile service.
Tom, what are you seeing today?
So I think one of the visuals that Brian Benstock used earlier just really drove it home for me. You see the number of competitors that a customer has to drive by in order to get to a dealer, right? So we're not always the most convenient place in the world. They're going to drive past tons of competitors on their way to work or on their way home. Mobile service and pick up and delivery, those sort of things give us a leg up on the competition because we eliminate 99% of those competitors if we're just going to go to you and pick up that car, get the work done.
And Nolan, what are you seeing with your customers and how have they been responding?
Yeah, I mean, it's like Ed said, we're going where they're comfortable. So we've changed, and you have to change the mindset, right? But we're changing from forcing customers to do business on our terms, doing business on their terms, making ease of transaction, everything's convenient for them. So we've seen great success with it.
And Matt, we're here today at Uber, and of course, Uber is playing a big part in mobile service and pick stop strategies for dealerships. How are you seeing customers responding when this is paired with rideshare solutions like Uber?
We're seeing a lot of dealerships CSI scores skyrocket. Customers love it. They can have their car picked up by an employee, brought back to their house by an employee, and that dealership's using Uber to transport that employee back and forth. Or if you drop your car off, instead of waiting for a shuttle van, most of the customers are jumping in an Uber and heading right back home.
Excellent. And Troy?
So we've learned a lot over 10 years with 3.5 million services ourselves as a company. We're pivoting and taking on some great partners up here and some here in the audience and learning a lot from them as well, giving them the tools and technology from the software to consulting and educating where we're at. Here's a quick stat for you. Ford, we know, is probably the most aggressive with mobile. 2.5 years ago, they were doing about 20,000 customer experiences a month. Today, they're at 300,000. Okay, and that's half between pickup and delivery and half mobile service. So it's a pretty big number. So it tells you what's happened over at least the 2.5 years.
And can I ask some of the folks up here, because you are the leaders, Can you tell us about how many mobile units you have today? And if you don't mind, tell us where Bozart is.
We operate 41 mobile units daily.
Well, 41.
Yes.
We have 11, and we're adding 3 on this year.
Jim, I remember when you had 2 or 3.
Everyone starts with 1.
And it went out. By the way, Ed, do you see that number going up in the future?
I foresee that number being in the hundreds, yes.
Yeah. Tom Druzynski.
So we're at 7 and climbing. We're not at end numbers, but get that.
Well on your way.
Yeah, correct.
Yes. And Nolan.
We have 33 on the road every day.
Well, and something unique about yours, you run multiple shifts with them.
We have 3 shifts. Yeah, we do 4 a.m. to 12. We do a 7 to 5, and then we do a 2 p.m. to 12 at night.
So how many mobile ROs last year?
Between the 2 stores, 35,000.
Wow. We were waiting Colby on the phone, and I said, "You're from where?"
Yeah. You wouldn't think
We had no idea you were flying under the radar.
Yeah. Yeah, we have teams, and we work in multiple states every day.
Troy, do you see this kind of growth going on all over the country?
Yeah, I mean, it starts, like they said, he started with 1 van, 41. I think what it shows is the customers are out there, they're looking for this, whether it's fleet, recall, or D2C. So we are definitely seeing a pickup. I think 25 is going to be the year for sure.
And Matt, Uber is a big part of this because a lot of the dealers look at the ROI of having 1 van or having 3 or 10 or 30. There's a tremendous ROI in terms of, you mentioned customer satisfaction as well, if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, I think having a lot of your customers satisfied goes a long way. We see, just in sales here, we go to a dealer's Google My Business page, Google Reviews, and a lot of dealers are getting slammed. Customers are sitting there for an hour and a half, especially if you're in a major metro area. You're sitting there for an hour and a half waiting for your shuttle van to get back. Nobody's speaking with them. With the Uber product, they're waiting there for 7 minutes. They're heading home. And I think just the experience is, it's changed. The dynamic has changed. A lot of the customers, they're happy to come back. They're in and out of your store instead of sitting there for 2 hours to get service.
ROI in terms of customer satisfaction. Jim Sabino, how's that working out here in New Jersey?
Customer satisfaction has skyrocketed as a direct result from remote experiences. So pickup and delivery mobile service is considered a remote experience. 5-star Google reviews, net promoter scores from the manufacturer surveys have skyrocketed solely directly because of mobile service and pickup and delivery.
You're in Bergen County, Route 17, New Jersey. Those customers dig the mobile service.
They do. Tough crowds, but when you please them, convenience, and you provide a level of basically seamless and on their terms, you win. You win the game every time.
Ed, I had no idea that you can go an entire month with the fleet that you have and have perfect or near perfect CSI. Ed, that's unheard of.
Customers embrace it, and we talk about ROI. We can measure each truck, and we do, and we can do all those things. But truly, at the end of the day, what does it affect? It affects our customer acquisition cost. Mm-hmm. That's what it affects. And that's unmeasurable when you try to look back at that at mobile, but that comes from the loyalty element of it.
And just in thinking about, and Tom, I'd love to get your perspective. When you're talking about technician productivity and then customer satisfaction, as Ed was mentioning, now the repair bay is on the go. How do you balance, some of these solutions to really keep the customers happy?
Well, it's nice because there are many times when you need to expand, right? We heard Margo say there's not a shortage of technicians, right? I don't, in most of our stores, we don't have a shortage of technicians. I have the opposite. I need more space. I either need to be open more hours or I need to be able to leverage mobile services, pick up deliveries, do work outside of the store. Thanks to the handy dandy little computers that we all keep in our pockets, you're never going to have a price or a product advantage again, right? The new battleground is customer experience. And that's a word that you've heard up here across the board is experience, right? And that's what it's about, is driving that customer experience. If those customers are happy and they're having that good experience, it sets us apart. They're going to do more service. They're going to come back. They're going to spend more money. They're going to buy more cars. And it's going to keep our technicians busy.
And Troy, what are other solutions dealerships should be implementing that enhance technician productivity?
So I just think it's whatever their strategies are. I think one thing we heard on the panel earlier is about acquisition play. So think in a mobile environment, when you go to a customer's house, you can not only give an appraisal on that vehicle, they probably have a second car in the driveway. So if that is your strategy, that gets you eyes on a car that you may never have saw. So again, I have some background with appraising a lot of cars in my previous life. So I do think it's a strategy for sure.
And let me tie on to that a bit, because yes, most driveways are split, and it gives us the opportunity to appraise that car as well. But also they know what kind of service experience they're getting with that brand of vehicle, and it ain't the same service experience that they're getting with the vehicle that you're there servicing. So it's the opportunity to acquire that customer, and that's what really drives down that customer acquisition cost.
Jim, how do you qualify which repairs or maintenance can be done with the mobile unit versus in the shop?
Ford has a little mobile service friendly program that they use that assists us with recalls. They identify just under 70% of all recalls from Ford and Lincoln are able to be performed on the road. So that's a great percentage for the end user, the customer, because we can come right to their location where it saves them the trip into the dealership, which again, a lot of customers don't like to come into the dealership for various reasons. Some do, but if you can come to their house or place of business and take that pain point away from them, you win that customer. And most likely you got to come away with an appointment. And then it gives you a chance for vehicle acquisition. It gives you a chance for multi-point inspection. If there's any other work that needs to be done, possibly there on the road, we keep our vans stocked with some parts, some quick, easy moving parts. And if it's a little heavier work, then we'll schedule, pick them a delivery and get that car back into the shop. So there's a lot of opportunity there. You have to get the appointed set and you win.
Something that Nolan mentioned to me is that he's really focused a lot of this on the commercial customer, all right?
Correct.
Speak to us about that.
Yeah, I mean, we put most of our focus on fleet. We're about 70-30, 70% fleet, 30% customer. We just find that, we're really creating a solution to their problem. We're eliminating downtime. Fleets cannot be down. So the minute that they're down, we go out, we fix the vehicle, we get them back on the road. And that has been huge for us and our operation.
You know, Troy, a lot of the folks who are up here on the panel, it's kind of been like the Wild West because they kind of had to develop this as they go, okay? But now they've
We got partners.
The ingredients. What are you saying?
They learned from our mistakes. Early on, we learned a lot over these 10 years. And so through our technician feedback, everything to how to upfit a van correctly, through technicians, not someone at a corporate office saying, here's a van, go run mobile. So we constantly will sit down with teams like Ed and as service advisors and learn what do they want in an application. Great partners with Reynolds in Ed's example, where they've been open with their software for us. As again, you watch service advisors jump from one system to another, and that's clumsy and complicated, and people don't like that. So they've been great partners and have opened up their software for us.
I want to touch on one point that makes all of this possible, and that's really the digital tools. And there's a lot of different uses that we're seeing in the industry. Matt, I'd like to come to you first. How are digital tools like mobile service, rideshare integrations, how are these shaping the future of automotive?
I think it's becoming more of a norm at a lot of dealerships, whereas about 4 years ago, you would speak to a dealership, they would say, this is crazy. Nobody's gonna do it. Nobody's moving my customer. But as times advance, I think a lot of dealerships are focused on volume, getting customers in, having them enjoy the experience. And one of the best ways you can do that is with rideshare. And not only moving customers, but moving parts. Uber allows dealers to move parts between sister stores, without having to have a van or have an employee drive those parts back and forth. So where I see a lot of it shifting towards is the rideshare.
And Ed, when we're talking about digital tools, there's a lot of other components that go into making this possible for the customer.
When you take that whole platform and tie it together and then have partners like Reynolds and Spiffy that can analyze that information, we got the vehicle data, we have the inventory of the van, We have the telematics of where those vans are. Now we can choose the right van that's in the right location with the right parts on it, with the right technician to go to that vehicle and take care of it in a timely manner. And that no one person can calculate all together. You need partners to be able to pull that information together and analyze it for you.
And Nolan, in your operation, 3 shifts, how do you coordinate all of this with digital tools?
That's tough, but we've just partnered with Spiffy, so moving forward, we'll be working with Troy and his team to help streamline a little bit, but it is tough. I mean, we have it structured, we have managers, coordinators that set up the day, but there's a lot of moving pieces, so the partnership with Spiffy is well needed for sure.
Nolan, I've heard that Spiffy offers tracking and software that has capabilities that really nobody else has out there. Is that one of the things that you saw in Spiffy?
Yeah, well, similar to what Ed said, just identifying the right van, the right tech, the proper route to take, because that all makes a difference. So we're looking forward to it.
Want to speak?
Yeah, just we look at efficiencies. If we're, get into a dealership and we're starting to look at your ROs and you want to grow from 3 to 5, what does the software can do to help you with that and automate it? So even in Ed's store, there's 41 vans, we got in there and looked at some processes and have improved his RO count on a daily basis. And some staggering numbers, like, I think it was 136 ROs in one day at that location. It's mobile.
Yes.
So,
All right,
On the day that rained.
lightning round for the audience, and for the dealers watching, 30 seconds, no more than that, starting with Ed. You're talking to another dealer who's considering getting into mobile and remote services. Ed, what advice would you give them? We'll go down the line.
So you have to look at it from a different angle. You have to look at it, what if you couldn't say no? When I did some research back in 2019, when we started to get heavier, we got mobile in 2015, we decided to make the switch in 19 to get heavier into it. 60% of the vehicles that came into our service department that didn't come in for an oil change never had the lift set on it. Well, if we don't set the lift on it in our shop, we don't need to do it in our shop. We can do it mobily. So if you couldn't say no, what would you do?
Jim.
It's a great, remote experience is a great option to take. Start slow. You're going to hit some roadblocks, challenges, make adjustments as you go, and it's going to be a successful program overall.
Tom Druzynski.
So when we first started looking at it, I struggled with how to crack the nut. I was looking at it from the dollars standpoint, right? Oil changes, tire rotations, like we're never going to get there. But a very smart man, Ed Roberts, told me start with recalls, start with special order parts. They're always at repair rates. They're at your warranty labor rates. So it makes it a lot less easier. You need a lot less work to be actual to
Good advice.
justify the cost of the vehicle. So it's a good place to start.
Nolan.
I mean, it's the future of the industry. I mean, I think any dealer or any group that's not getting on board at this point is going to be left behind. The demand is going to continue to increase, and the real opportunity is outside our walls, not inside of them.
You mentioned that for most dealerships, the future opportunity is outside its walls.
I truly believe that.
Yeah. That.
I think let us move your customers and your employees to and from your stores while you guys focus on servicing cars.
You got the place work.
Okay, last word. It starts with everybody in this room. Leadership, from the principal to the GM to the fixed ops director, service managers and advisors, they all have to get behind this for it to be successful. And the locations and dealerships that we see are most successful, you have that. You have this group sitting up here and most of you in this audience. So it's a very important piece for mobile to work.
All right.
I'm going to add one more piece of that. If you can't get into mobile service, get into pickup and delivery. And you don't need multiple people to do that. You can use Matthew to take your employee to pick that vehicle up and bring that vehicle back to service. Now you're setting yourself apart.
All right. Well said, everybody. So thank you for all of you that taking the lead in doing this. I'm Ted Ings. I'm here with Sarah Van Tyne. We're here at Uber headquarters in New York in the World Trade Center with the leaders of mobile and remote services, and we're going to be right back.
With the integration of UVI and vAuto together, it really brings the best of both worlds. It brings you the digital forefront as far as what UVI can bring. It brings you the knowledge and backing of acquisition and everything vAuto has to incorporate. Having that together allows not only your managers and your acquisition team to do more effectively, you're also catching the customer at the quickest time and turnaround.
That kind of automation, to put it in perspective, if you have $1 million inventory and you have $200,000 that's sitting out there that's not being used, well, today we can get those $200,000 photographed and merchandised instantly. So what we like is the ability to be able to scan our vehicles as they're coming in. We're able to tag that into our appraisals, our inspection process. This level of detail that it's able to deliver to our team is certainly incredible, and it's the future, and us being able to leverage today's technology to be able to accomplish that is everything that we're looking for.
Understanding that service is really the lifeblood of a lot of brands. It gives you the best fixed absorption, and the biggest pain point has always been that multi-point inspection to make it on a consistent basis.
I'm very excited about the relationship between UVI and vAuto coming together. It's a perfect relationship where it just makes sense, where the two can work together, where we can get the inspection, the photos, and have it talk and get direct appraisals, which then integrate with Vin Solutions. That entire ecosystem speaks exactly to what we're looking to accomplish. And so the fact that you guys are working together, I think it truly is the next best step for us.
Call action on Affinitiv advertising with our next speaker.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Our great colleagues and friends from Affinitiv are here with us today. Tom Kerr is the president of Affinitiv Advertising. Tom, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks a lot, Ted. Happy to be here. First time. Excited to share what we do.
You know, so much happening in retail automotive. Tom, never been more exciting than it is right now, I think. And I can't imagine a time like this. And fixed operations is squarely the focus and more and growing, it seems, every month in our industry.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's a big reason why I'm here, because at Affinitiv Advertising, we're much more focused on the variable operations side. But in this case, we've identified some key areas where we can move our variable ops to the fixed ops for execution. And that's, the reason that we're seeing more and more emphasis on the fixed side is, with dealership and OEM loyalty at all-time lows, we got to do everything that we can to retain, because without retention, we're not going to grow. And so that's where we start. We start with our retention and we move on to our conquest strategies.
Tom, what are you seeing out there as the overall sentiment from dealers? We talked a little bit about, you mentioned defection, lost service customers. What are dealers thinking? What's on top of mind these days?
I've actually seen service and fixed operations budgets the highest that we've ever seen it. And it's because most people understand that if we don't retain, we're not going to grow. So that's more and more focus has been in it. We've always talked about absorption rates and things like that, but it's much more important now in an advertising budget than it's ever been. Because like I said, if we don't retain, you're not going to get growth, and you're just going to constantly be kind of conquest, which is the toughest customer to get in.
And Tom, until not long ago, that budget was at or near zero, okay, for fixed operations. Everything went into the variable side. I mean, everything.
Yeah. No, I've got clients that are running $40,000, $50,000 a month service budgets now.
Yeah, well, the world has changed. Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about service scheduling as well. I know when I make a service appointment, it used to be I would call the dealership, but now I do it at night. I do it on weekends when the dealership is closed, and I do it on their online service scheduler. What are you seeing as the typical abandonment rate, if you will, across all vendors, and how can dealers reduce that number?
So great question, Ted. It's, we see 30 to 40% of consumers who start the service scheduler abandon it. For people like us who are in the industry, we know, hey, it's not, it's pretty easy. We just go through it. We know it might take a little bit longer, but somebody who's new to the industry and is trying to schedule their appointment might find it complicated, or, maybe it's not as smooth as your Amazon checkout. So, they abandon. And some of the things that, and we'll get into it a little bit more in detail, but what we do is we identify those customers who are abandoning or who only looked at service offers and never provided information. And then we're going to market to them instantly with email. We can also direct mail these customers. And then what I find most exciting is real-time OTT. So we see a customer who abandons the form. We identify where they're streaming at. And then we send them a service reminder, typically incentive, to go back and schedule the appointment.
Brian Benstock at Paragon Honda in Queens, New York, has said very often on the Roundtable that his competition is not the fellow Honda dealer in Queens or the surrounding area. It's all the aftermarket, the thousands and thousands of aftermarket. So, Tom, I want to ask you about that as well. We know that aftermarket service centers, they conquest franchise dealers. What are some of the tactics that dealers can use today to maybe help turn the tables on that?
Yeah, and this is a big reason why Affinitiv Advertising has moved over and helped on the fixed ops instead of variable. One of the easiest ways for us to do this is we geofence the Take Fives, the Jiffy Lubes, those customers or those locations. And then what we would typically do is we do a look back window, and you see, hey, they were find all the customers that were in your PMA over the last 3 to 5 months that didn't come to see you. And then we start marketing to those customers most dominantly in direct mail, social media, and as well as OTT. So we can identify those customers and bounce them off of our 300 million plus consumer records to identify them, and then serve typically an oil change, something generic, oil change, batteries, tires, anything like that might get them back in. Predominantly oil change, but that's been one of our most successful ways to go, in really explaining to the consumer the benefits of a dealership versus one of those areas. We really overcome that. The incentive for them to come to us is typically very intriguing, like something that you would send to a lost customer, and that's a predominant strategy of ours to get those customers back.
I know it was not a lot long ago we did a panel with Affinitiv. There are so many mediums you use to contact the customer. I mean, whether it's things like snail mail, direct mail, or much more modern tools, such as streaming and things all of that sort. Tom, you're really taking advantage of all these different methods, and you come at it from a whole bunch of different ways. If you want to talk about that, because I think that's in your sweet spot very much.
Absolutely. The biggest thing that we're doing is we're reducing wasted resources, because frequency is not created the way that it was 10, 12 years ago. I mean, it's changing faster than ever. Before, we'd put a TV buy together, make sure we hit them 5 to 7 times, or a radio buy. Well, you just can't get a frequency like that with customers anymore. You have to build the audience first. And then after the audience is built, then you put the ads out everywhere where that customer is going to be. Your social media, YouTube, email, and yes, direct mail, snail mail definitely still works, especially if you know that customer is looking for a coupon. And then what I always say has been the most exciting is the way that we're able to target with OTT, these same type of customers. So when you pile on these 4 to 6 different medias, and we're touching you 7 times in each one of them, our frequency goes through the roof, and it's for pennies compared to just trying to dominate a major medium.
That is such a smart strategy, and I'm not sure that every dealer takes advantage of that. And now even more on the fixed side, you're right, okay? And that fixed customer, that fixed appointment, that's a sale once they come in. I mean, it's not like there's going to be a closing ratio on that oil change. They're getting the work done. It's just a matter of how much more they're going to get done once they come in.
Well, Ted, it's not only that. It's again, I mean, both sides of the dealership house have to feed each other. So, we're our good dealers. I mean, I have great dealers, but a good dealer turning 2% of their ROs into an additional car sale is extremely valuable. So it's not just getting that high dollar RO either. It's each side of the house is supporting one another.
Tell us more. What channels or mediums can dealers use to engage these potential service customers? What are you seeing out there?
So there's a couple of, like we touched on just a minute ago on increasing frequency. The way that we're doing it at Affinitiv Advertising, let's go back to let's be very specific when we talk about geofencing, your quick lube locations and stuff. In that typical strategy, you're going to be using social media, your carousel ads, coupon offers, and Instagram, Facebook. Then you're going to be we're going to layer in OTT, showing a very attractive oil change offer. And then the customers, then we can also identify customers who are engaging. Maybe that customer visits the website and doesn't fill out a form. Maybe that's about when we start sending a direct mail piece. The second, after customers visit the website and they don't submit an appointment, or they just look at service offers, that customer is going to receive in real time email, OTT. We also still send social media because by the way that we're identifying these customers in a cookieless world, it helps us increase the number of people that we can remarket to on Facebook and Google. So it's more than just de-anonymizing the customer that is visiting the website and reaching out to them in a we try in a non-creepy way, more it feels coincidental, but it is, all the technologies out there. We could, if we wanted, say, hey, Ted, if we wanted, but we choose not to. And we also don't want to just turn that information over to a dealership. We want to nurture that for our dealers, because a lot of times when that information falls into the dealership's hands, it's not a real lead. We want to nurture them and get that customer to schedule the appointment or show up, in that fashion. So, predominantly in this strategy of conquesting and filling this, it's social, email, OTT, direct mail, any one of the Google properties. Those are the primary mediums that we're using to activate the audiences that we're building on behalf of our dealers.
I know as a consumer, my tastes have changed the last couple of years. Now I look more at things like YouTube, okay? And I watch things there streaming, and, maybe not so much as I did in the past on, let's say, cable TV or the traditional, television networks. Thoughts on that?
Well, streaming's overtaken cable, and it's only going to continue to grow. Google's still your second largest search engine behind Google. Obviously there's AI searches that are taking place. Makes your search engine optimization more important. But most people aren't watching traditional cable, and it's not that every market's different, right? So when it comes to being affordable and finding that budget, like we talked about earlier, Ted, by finding that budget and being more resourceful with the limited budget, and you can really measure, the other reasons that I like streaming so much and YouTube TrueView, is you're only paying when somebody's using it. You're not paying for a hypothetical impression. You're actually, that device has to be on. YouTube TrueView, you have the ability to only pay when somebody watches the entire video. So it's just become a more resourceful way of, and again, it goes back to the whole premise. You build the audience first, serve the marketing second.
So Tom, our dealer audience, fixed ops directors watching, general managers, service and parts managers, they need to be paying attention to this. They need to be looking at all of these avenues, and these are things that Affinitiv can squarely. This is in your swim lane, Tom.
Absolutely. It's again, I mean, it's the most affordable way to have high frequency, and you're going after customers that are looking for service. These are, again, it's why building the audience is so important and timely. And then we combine it with our lifecycle marketing strategies. So we know who's in market and who's not, and we know how to deliver the message to them and all the channels that customer is actually using, as opposed to the spray and pray strategies of old.
All right. I know that a number of our dealers on the roundtable swear by Affinitiv and use Affinitiv. If our audience watching today has questions, wants to learn more, Tom maybe wants to ask things specific for their market and their brands. I know you do different things with different brands as well. What's the best way for our audience to reach out and learn more?
Well, I think my email address at tkerr@affinitiv.com, and I'll answer them personally. We'll even help with some, depending on what a customer is looking for. We'll offer some free overviews of just a review of the strategy, and if we can help, we'll tell you. If we think you're doing exactly the way we would, we'll be honest with you on that piece too. So we just like the opportunity and are really trying to spread the word on our audience first strategies.
Tom, on behalf of the Fixed Ops community, I really appreciate you being here today. And I know we're going to invite you back, okay, because I'm sure there's going to be more to talk about as we get later into the year and into next year. So congratulations to you, Tom, everything that's happening with Affinitiv and Affinitiv Advertising.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Ted. I really appreciate the opportunity and look forward to doing more.
Everybody can learn more down below. You can see in the scroll, affinitivadvertising.com. You can reach Tom directly. That's his email scrolling along at the bottom. And Affinitiv, here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
When it comes to game day, you gotta bring it.
We want to and continue to become that epicenter for automotive education, training, thought leadership, and certainly placement of aspiring students for this industry. But it really is our silent kickoff party, as you're going to hear more and more about Northwood University's Center for Automotive and Mobility Studies. It's a remarkable testament to the power of relationships and moreover friendships. And today we've got remarkable panelists discussing all arrays of the automotive retail and aftermarket sectors.
When the next generation millennials and Gen Zs are entering the workforce, they want to know more about career development, professional development. Where do I go from here?
Stay curious. Our industry is changing so fast, and I know that the technology that's out there is going to change the way we look at the world very, very soon.
I think when we look at each other for solutions, you get incremental growth, but when you look outside the industry and look at what the big aggregators are doing, you can get exponential growth.
You can leave here and you can get taught all this great stuff by the school, but what's going to separate you guys is the first link in the chain. It's your willingness to activate it.
That's no baloney. It's Blink AI with Ryan from Interstate Honda.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Ashleigh Norton, Vice President of Marketing at Blink AI, is with us. With us today also is Ryan Turner. He's the General Manager at Interstate Honda out in Washington. First time on the Roundtable. Ashleigh and Ryan, welcome to the event.
Thank you, Ted. Happy to be here.
Excited to be here, Ted. Thank you so much.
Ryan, you and I chatting a little bit in the green room before we got started today. Sounds like a fascinating dealership you're at, fascinating opportunity. Congratulations to you on all the success you are having out there with Interstate Honda.
Thank you very much, Ted. It's been an adventure, to say the least.
Okay.
Well, yeah, Ted. So yeah, our CSM team, our customer success team, they love to brag about Ryan and about Interstate Honda. That's one of the reasons we wanted to nominate them as a certified dealer. So, Ryan, thank you for being here with me.
Very excited. It's been a great partnership so far, Ashleigh.
And congratulations on that, Ryan. Certified dealer partner at the Fixed Ops Roundtable nomination through Blink AI. So not every dealer can say that, and a lot comes with that. So again, congratulations to you. Ryan, tell us a little bit about your operation, how you found Blink AI, and what pain points or points you were trying to address by doing that.
Yeah, no. Initially, as a new store, we're brand new from the ground up. We've been open 24 months, and like most dealers, we've been battling expense, headcount, technology, how to maximize that blend and really make it work not only for us as a dealer, but more importantly for our customer base. So what we did is we went out and we looked for opportunities to increase that efficiency, and we vetted quite a few different companies in the space, and we had a chance to meet Blink through a couple mutual partners. Who had nothing but wonderful things to say. So what we really wanted to do was identify a technology partner, a AI-based, service-focused partner that we could essentially hand over all of our inbound, outbound phone calls and make sure we're managing those properly. Blink has done a tremendous job in not only helping us grow our service business, but ultimately help service our customers better. We've found that bounced calls have gone down. We found that customer interactions have gone up. One of the things that I always like to notice is, do I hear the chaos on the showroom when I walk outside? And Blink has really helped to manage that and helped us just have a smoother organization in regards to our service business.
If I can follow up, Ryan, what made you consider the addition of AI and including that and incorporating that into the offerings at your store as well?
No, great question, Ted. Ultimately, we had been battling as a new store again, headcount versus profitability. And for us, we wanted to identify what was the most efficient way we could grow the business. And we found, as Ashleigh shared numerous times, is that through AI, we can dictate that experience and we can control our expense. It's been a great employee, the way we look at it. No sick days. Always does what we need it to do and ultimately delivers a great experience that we can help to coordinate, So it has been just a great marriage so far.
And how do the customers like it? What are they responding and how are they responding?
We have the good and the bad, right? And I say that because much like myself, from time to time, we just want to talk to a human. And the system does a good job navigating that for us. But overall, I believe that the data has a story to tell. When we started with Blink, one of the biggest things we wanted to do was increase our appointment business. That was, without a BDC doing outbound, our biggest opportunity. So, with that being said, we've seen the data month over month increase, which has helped us to give them more and more of our business. Not only do we utilize the inbound side, but we're getting ready to ramp up to look at some of the outbound capabilities through campaigns. So they have helped us grow our day-to-day service business. And the customers, as you had mentioned, Ted, the feedback's been phenomenal. The efficiency, the time on the phone, and I review all of the phone calls, which they do provide recorded phone calls in their dashboard. Wow. which is another benefit, is I don't have to pay for an additional service, right? As a manager, I can sit there with my service director and we have the opportunity to view those live. So customer feedback's been fantastic. Conversion has been fantastic. But I do believe that's because we've worked so closely with Blink to make sure we have kind of refined that process for a great experience.
Yeah, and I'll touch on that a little bit more. It's it's hard to find a good partner like Ryan when you're continuously developing your technology, and we never stop improvising and improving on what we're building and what we're providing to the industry. And partners like Ryan are always there to give us the feedback, work closely with our team, take our best practices, try to implement those. I'm so excited to see you start running campaigns. I know you're using some short URLs and QR codes and things like that as well. But he's that type of partner that is so important to vendors like us that need that constant feedback from our partners.
And Ryan, AI is evolving every day, every week, every month. There's new enhancements. So I would imagine that's part of the Blink story with your dealership as well.
Yeah, it's grown with us. When we started with Blink, and not to, lessen the technology, we kind of started on a version 1.0 in my mind. And as it's evolved, as Ashleigh had stated, is they're continually evolving, making the product better, refining it for conversion. They launched a 2.0 system earlier this month, which I was extremely excited to get on. It took us to a conversational AI base versus a transactional AI base. So not only have I seen the emotional sentiment of those conversations increase through that dialogue, but our conversion data shares the same. Right. Yeah. And I don't mean to share, steal all of Ashleigh's thunder, but we've seen a tremendous increase in phone appointment conversion since the second rendition of the tool. And, it's our little secret, but I'm happy to share. The team is very excited, and Blink's done a great job with that.
Yep. And that's what I've shared with you before, Ted. That is our Blink Voice AI moving over to conversational AI. Our team spent a ton of time just studying and learning to make sure that AI, that conversational piece, was ready for the automotive industry. Ryan's right. Like, we're seeing conversion rates. I just pulled up a couple stores on my last demo that I did. I mean, 73% conversion rate, 82% conversion rate, just high conversion rates out of the customers that are calling to book an appointment.
Ryan, those numbers are extremely high. Are those the kind of results that stand out the most, or is there anything else that Blink is doing with you and your team at the store?
I think at the end of the day, from a dealer perspective, we all love conversions. And more importantly, we love our showrooms and our service areas to have clients. I think that's the real testament is, as I'd mentioned, when I walk outside and I went from a showroom or a customer waiting area that was fickle throughout the day, especially as a new dealer, and now I can walk in their standing room. That is the testament, outside of all the data, all the KPIs, however you want to chop it down. When you walk out there and you see those customers with a smile, you see them engaging with your staff, that's the delta. But to answer your question more directly, Ted, absolutely. Our phone appointment ROI last month was over $45,000. So when we look at that, being able to track that return to ROI based on that Blink process and that tool is tremendous. So I don't mean to throw exacts out there or anything like that, but for a dealer of our size, it has been a tremendous growth opportunity, and we wouldn't be where we're at without them.
Ashleigh, having a partner like Ryan is unique because not only is he retail, but he's also worked in his career in automotive with technology and technology companies. And I would imagine he's seen a thing or two come along down the pike. Okay. And for him to be working with you is very impressive, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think that is also, again, one of the things that stands out with Ryan is he's in his career seen it from both sides of the fence, from being in the store in the daily chaos to also being on the, on the vendor side, and knows the pain that we feel sometimes when we're just trying to service our customers the best way that we can. And I know he's a great partner for other technology companies and how we work together. So I don't know if Ryan, you want to touch on that?
Yeah. Part of that is as we look to expand our technology stack as we grow our business is that integration, right? Do your partners play well together? And without that, you lose that, not only you lose that efficiency of your business, but you lose that efficiency and the fluidity of your culture, in my opinion, right? So Blink has done a great job to integrate with our pre-existing partners. We utilize Drive as a CRM. Blink does a great job pushing that information in a relatable, summarized manner that allows our additional AI tools to take that lead to the next level. If, we're not able to re-engage that customer through Blink's outside resources, we bring them back into the CRM and then we'll market to them through email campaigns, social media, and openly. Without that data from Blink coming into the CRM, we would never have that opportunity to retain that customer and, more importantly, re-engage them down the line for both sales and service. So that partnership and that integration has been huge for us, Ashleigh. It's been a value.
That's fascinating. Ryan, based on your experience and what you see happening in the industry today, and I think our industry has been poised, ripe for disruption for a long time. What do you see are the biggest opportunities for technology to continue with improving in fixed ops on the dealership and customers' behalf, both now and over the next few years as you look out over the horizon?
I think that's a huge question. I think it's one that we need to, as an industry, start to have more conversation about is what does that evolution look like? The biggest thing that I think we need to kind of rethink is that customer journey. How is that customer getting to our website? How are those analytics changing through AI search, through Google overview, through a multitude of factors? And how do we really position ourselves for that next rendition of our business, right? And when I think about that, as service and parts is the backbone of our industry and has been forever, I think we really need to reinvest some of our digital space to service and parts. One of the big things that we're looking at openly is, do we build a new website that is dedicated to service and parts and sells secondary? I think as we've looked at this for so long, we've always looked at it from a variable lens. And I think this gives us a unique opportunity to identify the true value of service and the true value of those service customers and how we engage them and what we do moving forward. So AI is going to be leading that charge. And I do believe that, those of us who are studious enough and willing enough to learn a new trick in our industry will continue to evolve. And AI will lead that charge. And I think we need to help that charge by putting up clear and defined guidelines, help managing it. And as I shared with Ashleigh, having expectations for that AI just as you would an employee. I think a lot of people forget that or think that an AI is a set it and forget it. But we view our AI every day just as if it was an employee in the store. And we hold it accountable to KPIs and metrics. And we get with our vendor partners to revisit that and make sure it's optimized. And Blink's done exactly that for us. And they've been a great partner.
And you've been a great partner.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashleigh. I appreciate that.
Ashleigh, Ryan is a very forward-thinking dealer, okay?
Absolutely.
And, you could tell in the conversations. And Ryan, just amazing to hear some of the things you're saying, and exciting to see where this is headed, right, Ryan? And where we're going to be in the next few years.
I can't wait. And I like I said, I think Blink's done a great job positioning themselves as a valued partner in that space. And I'll be open with you. I'm excited to see where the future takes us and to see where it takes our customers and our business.
All right. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for being with us today. Ryan Turner, the general manager, Interstate Honda out in Washington, talking about his experience with Blink AI, using that platform. Ashleigh, great information as always. If our audience, Ashleigh, wants to get more information on what you can do to help them or maybe answer some specific questions they may have, Ashleigh, what's the best way for our audience to reach out?
You can chat with me live on blinkai.com. That is actually me when you chat in there. You can find me on, it is. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm there. I'm around. And yeah, any way you want to reach out to me, I'm open to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you both on behalf of the Roundtable. Ryan, appreciate your time today. And we'll probably come back and visit with you sometime in the near future and learn a little bit more about what's happening, if that's all right.
Always, Ted. It was truly a pleasure.
Everybody, Ryan Turner and Ashleigh Norton. Ashleigh with Blink AI. Ryan out on the West Coast, representing one of the most forward-thinking Honda dealers, Interstate Honda, out in Washington, with us here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
The fastest pit change in a Formula One race took 1.80 seconds. At Blink AI, we say challenge accepted as we take your dealership from zero to hero with our platform that's purpose-built to shift the customer experience into high gear. Unlike solutions that promise efficiency with AI chatbots, Blink AI turns your dealership operation into a profit powerhouse. With Blink AI, you get scheduling solutions that work together to increase your bottom line. It's about turning interactions into actions that drive dealership success. We're talking about intelligent phone automation and seamless scheduling that increases appointments without increased overhead, and workflow automation that eliminates service bottlenecks and boosts staff productivity, and a customer campaign solution that proactively engages customers and increases CSI scores. Blink AI, your dealership's #1 pit crew.
Know your applesauce with the accountability panel filmed live at our Mike Calvert Toyota pop-up event.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Van Tyne here with Headings. We're at Mike Calvert Toyota, and today we're going to be talking about accountability in the shop. Ted, we've got quite the group with us today.
And a great topic, Sarah. So without further ado, I'll ask everybody on the panel to introduce themselves and tell us what you do here at Mike Calvert Toyota.
My name is Robert Lyle, and I'm the Master Technician Mentor. So in charge of helping grow our next wave of future technicians.
Yeah, my name is Matthew Winston. I'm the Fixed Operations Director here at Mike Calvert Toyota.
My name is James Bagwell. I'm the Service Drive Manager here at Mike Calvert Toyota.
Matt, I want to come to you first just to set the stage, because we're talking about accountability, and that means a lot of different things to different dealerships. So how do you define accountability within your dealership culture?
That's a great question. So accountability is very deeply rooted in our organization, right? It's actually part of our core values. And I'll just go ahead and pull this out. We have a little pocket cards that we read off every morning. And, personal accountability, we take full responsibility and are accountable to our commitments to the company and our guests. And that comes at every level of the dealership, from the ownership, Sean Lawn, down to our valet attendants. And, it really just creates consistency and clarity, lets everybody know, what's expected of them and where they stand. And just like everything in our business, you have to measure it if you want to improve it, right? So we measure accountability, when it comes to attendance, performance, customer satisfaction. At the end of the day, our team wants to win across all boundaries, and can't win without accountability.
Absolutely. And James, how have you seen accountability be defined in your role and with your teams?
Yeah, so every day, every morning, me and myself and Eric will do basically like a month-to-date daily pulse report of how our advisors are doing, so they can see where they're performing and how they're performing compared to their teammates as well. So again, just another form of accountability to make sure that everyone's striving to be the best. If you see someone excelling, well, hey, what do I need to do to get to that position as well?
And Robert, with your teams, there's a lot of accountability that goes into that too.
Yeah, we kind of echo a morning meeting as well. We go over some of the same data. We go over how many hours we've turned for the week, whatever, and then we go into our video percentages. So we go over where each technician might be lacking or where they're excelling. We highlight those, we talk about those, and then we kind of break it as a team, kind of like a huddle. So it's every morning we're kind of getting off on the right foot.
You know, Robert, your position is so unique, and I commend Mike Calvert, okay, for all the things you're doing in growing their own technicians, okay, and building that career path. What are the systems, or what are some of the practices they use to ensure that there's accountability at all levels in this program?
So every month we go over our monthly standards, where we look at their productivity, we look at their NPIs, we look at their video percentage, CSR, all those things kind of go into that monthly meeting, and we meet with each tech individually about those. So it's not just a lot of shops may just move on every day or whatever, but we go through it and actually review it with every single technician every single month.
And James, I'm sure on the service drive, you've got to hold people accountable there, okay?
Yeah.
Make sure they're doing all the steps in the process. How do you handle situations where accountability is lacking or needs improvement?
100%. So we have a checks and balances, right? We'll pull them aside and kind of review, hey, this is where we're struggling, this is where we need to improve on. And we have corrective action, right? I mean, if someone's struggling, then we'll do individual trainings. We'll do trainings basically almost every other day here at my Calvert. And just to ensure that everyone's polished up, is doing what they should be doing with our process to be successful and to win. So yeah, we're pretty thorough with it.
As Sarah and I came in this morning with our crew, we noticed that your advisors were walking around the car with customers.
Yeah.
Is that done with each customer every time they come in?
Yeah, as part of our process, right? So we try to do a very consistent greet and process checking in the customer. If everyone's doing the same thing, it just helps with the process of consistency, and it just helps with just overall interaction with the customer as well.
Matthew, how important is that consistency throughout fixed operations, whether it's service, parts, the walk around advisor, technicians?
Yeah, the consistency is extremely important, right? It creates a uniform process, right? So it's basically like every guest is getting that same experience. Something probably more awkward than pulling into a service drive and you see the customer next to you, with their hood popped and they're getting walked around and they're going through the whole process, and then you're not. So we want that consistency and uniformity across the board. And same thing what happens when it goes in the shop, right? We film our videos the same way on every car with every technician.
You mentioned those video APIs. Is that becoming a bigger and bigger part of the industry than it is of the business?
Absolutely. I mean, it gives that peace of mind to the customer that they're actually seeing what's wrong with their car when we video it, versus just telling them that there's something wrong. We can actually show them, and seeing it is how, once they see it, they know that they need to work.
James, I want to come to you and then go down the line as well. In thinking about how accountability can be overlooked, sometimes it's really hard to have these conversations, especially if they're tough ones with your team. So how do you think that it can potentially be overlooked in dealership operations, and what pieces have you done to ensure that it is prevented?
Yeah, 100%, right? It's definitely something that's an awkward interaction, but we have a really good relationship with our staff here and can have those uncomfortable discussions, right? And at the end of the day, they all know that we want to succeed, we want to make money, we want to take care of customers, we want to fix cars, right? And it's one of those things that if you let that kind of slip to the wayside and just kind of let them and whoever do whatever they want to do, right? Well, then that's when we have problems that we need to overcome. We try to limit as many problems as we can by having a solid process in place and having those uncomfortable conversations that need to take place.
Matt, how have you seen this evolve, and what pieces have you done to prevent accountability being overlooked?
Yeah, so one thing we've created, we call them minimum standards, and they're performance standards, and we created individual performance plans for every staff member, whether you're a technician, a manager, or an AFM or advisor, right? And it goes over, what are the key elements that makes us successful, right? Comes from customer satisfaction, certain sales metrics, how many cars we're riding up a day. And, these individual development plans, we review one-on-one with every staff member. And our managers are tasked, right? They're graded off their own individual performance along with their staff members. So their team has to perform at a certain level, just like they do. And with that, it just helped us blossom as a company.
That's incredible. And Robert, what other pieces have you seen be successful in the shop?
One of the biggest things that I've seen successful is just reminding the technicians how important the video MPI is, going over those things with them daily, helping as a whole, just with their video production on their own, doing a good video, making sure everything's there. Those are some of the things that I've seen happen. But in terms of accountability, biggest thing that I see is when we have those one-on-one sessions, when we sit down with the techs, it's more of a counseling. It's not like, here, hey, you did a bad job. It's how can we help you? And that helps the conversation go as well.
Very good. And that accountability starts at the top because you're all held accountable, and it shows in the results that Mike Calvert Toyota is experiencing. So congratulations to all of you on the success that you're having at IZ, and it shows. So great work. I'm Ted Ings. I'm here with Sarah Van Tyne. We're at Mike Calvert Toyota in Houston, Texas. We will be right back.
Learn more about the gadgets and gizmos that DealerPay has to offer in our next segment.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Van Tyne here with Ted Ings. Ted, we have an exciting guest with us today.
Stacy King is here from DealerPay. And Stacy, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable and Mike Calvert Toyota.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Ted. Stacy, to kick things off, DealerPay is partner with us, and you have an incredible product where you offer multiple payment solutions and payment options for dealerships. So how can a dealership offering multiple payment options and faster checkout processes really enhance the customer satisfaction and experience?
Well, when it comes to payments, customers just like us, when we go to a store, we want offered different payment solutions. So when a dealership offers things such as digital wallets, text and email pay, it looks like the dealership has their convenience in mind. So for example, they go to the service counter, less wait times, turns around into more happy customers, which increases your CSI scores.
And I would imagine this all plays into that big buzzword we're hearing about now, which is efficiency. Creating efficiencies not only for the dealership, but as you said, for the customer.
Absolutely. And when the customer has an experience that is streamlined, odds are they're going to refer other people back to the dealership, which, as we know, being in the industry, is the best marketing tool.
Julie Douglas has always told us, Stacy, that transaction, the payment transaction, towards the end is the most important part because that's what the customer is going to remember last.
Absolutely. If it's a bad experience on the payment end at the end of their transaction and their experience at the dealership, odds are they're going to go somewhere else, Ted.
And we've all seen that happen before. A customer in the old days going to the cashier window to pay for the service, the cashier not being able to understand or explain what the charges are, having to call the advisor over, and then it gets complicated.
Correct.
And, and just thinking about the experience that Ted just described, some dealerships, people from the finance office are having to go back to the cashier as well to process it on the sales side, which can lead to bottlenecks. So what role does integrated payment solutions really play in improving the financial management for dealerships?
So when it comes to having a point of sale system that is integrated with your DMS, that's crucial because what it does, it pulls that information over, which in turn It slows down, or it speeds up, I should say. There's no re-inputting of data into the system, which takes time away. Everything there is correct. It pulls that information and it streamlines the transaction.
And that's a big time savings, not only for the dealership, but then the customer as well.
Absolute. Time is crucial.
And Stacy, in service, I would imagine that most people pay for their service bill with some kind of a card, debit card or a credit card. I imagine that's a majority, but you've also enhanced that so that the dealer can accept payments on things like, if I could say, Venmo and PayPal. Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. So in the modern technology, your payment processor should be ahead of that technology term. So as far as like digital wallets are common now. So you have the Google Pay, you have the Venmo, you have the PayPal. Those are all things like, I'm going to use Amazon as an example. In today's world, we want to be able to touch a button and move along. So if a dealership has those options for their clients and customers, it's streamlining the transaction.
I think it speaks volumes also if a dealership doesn't have these options for today's customer.
Yes.
And the customer, as you said, we're used to paying for things with our thumb on our phone. And if a dealership is not offering that, that really says a lot about the stores.
Absolutely. You have to stay ahead of the times because in today's world, everything else is ahead of the times. The vehicles that the dealership sells are ahead of the times. Everything's a push button. So they want their payments to be exactly that, a push button.
Stacy, and one of the bottlenecks on the dealership side that sometimes creates these inefficiencies where they have to go to the cashier or they're sticking to the old transaction methods. It's because the controller is concerned about reconciliation of the financial statements. So how do you address some of the pieces that a controller or accounting might have questions or concerns about?
Well, with an integrated, once again, point of sale system, it's all live transaction feed and live reported. So your controllers, your accountants will all have that live feed, and it makes everything a lot smoother and easier for them because at the end of the day, the transactions are there and they can track them down in real time.
And that's across the dealership, so not just one terminal, 1 point. You're doing this across how many, on average, different terminals points in a dealership?
Oh, wow, that varies. So with ours, it's a web-based system, so a dealership could have 20 terminals currently, but with Dealer Pay, they could track that down to, I would say, 5 or 6 if need be, because it is a web-based platform.
That's incredible.
Well, Stacy, congratulations to you. Dealer Pay is a big part of what's happening at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Absolutely.
You've really come to the forefront
Yes.
since 4 years ago when Julie and I spoke on the phone and she started explaining it to me. And you've really grown in leaps and bounds. So congratulations to you on all the success you're having.
Thank you. And Julie will thank you as well.
Well, if a customer wants to learn or a dealership wants to learn more about Dealer Pay, how do they take the next steps? What's the best way?
They can reach me, absolutely. And my email is Stacy, STACY, @dealerpay-.com.
All right. Sarah, great things happening with Dealer Pay.
Exciting things with Dealer Pay, Ted, and I'm looking forward to the year ahead.
All right.
Absolutely.
I'm Ted Ings with Stacy and with Sarah Van Tine. We're here at Mike Calvert Toyota in Houston, Texas, and we're going to be right back.
Okay, how would you like to pay? Card, cash, or check?
I will do a card.
Okay, thank you very much. And will you sign right here?
Sure.
Okay, have a great day.
Great, thank you.
Introducing Dealer Pay Moves, Dealer Pay's new mobile application for dealerships on the move. It's really great because all you have to do is search for your repair order. It's then going to search whichever DMS that the dealership is connected to. As you can see, it's going to pull up that customer record in that open repair order. I'm simply going to select it. Now you've got all your customer details here, including the surcharge amount if it were to be applied with a credit card. I've got options to pay by credit debit. I can key enter the transaction. I can use a paper check or even report cash. I can even add transactions in here so I can do some real-time voids and refunds. Dealer Pay Moves is a great solution for your dealership to stay relevant and mobile.
You might have noticed that Ted and I are on the move, and that's because we are now hosting Fixed Ops Roundtable pop-up events. We are on our way to a dealership near you with spontaneous events in amazing dealership spaces to highlight the people in retail service, parts, and dealerships worldwide. Stay up to date where we're headed next by following the Fixed Ops Roundtable on social media.
Hey, quit ironing your shoelaces. We're hitting the dance floor. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable Roaring 20s second swing event.
These speakers are dolled up, dapper, and ready to go. Meet the voices behind Volie. Up next.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have the Volie panel, and Ted, we've got a lot to cover about BDC and best practices today.
Sarah, that's right. Our great friends, Scott Davis, president of Volie, is with us today. Also, Kimberly Grubb from Cooper Automotive Group in Oklahoma, both no strangers to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Scott and Kimberly, welcome back to the event.
Hey guys, good to be here.
Hi, thanks so much for having me back.
Kimberly, of course, by all means, you and Scott are, I believe, fan favorites. And Scott, we've heard a lot of great things about Volie in the field as Sarah and I have been traveling these last few months. So congratulations to you on the success you're having. And it just keeps going and going, Scott.
Oh, I mean, we love what we do. We're super lucky to get to work with people like Kim and industry people like you guys. I probably have never had more fun than I've had in my life. It's great.
Yep.
I don't take it for granted.
Well, Scott, to kick things off, there's a lot of conversation in the industry today about, effective phone calls, whether it be inbound or outbound. But one of the things that a lot of dealerships struggle with are standards for phone calls and talking about what are best practices and what should or shouldn't be done. I know you've got some insights to share with us today, and we'd love to get started there.
Yeah, wanted to do something a little bit different today. Usually we talk about, on these things, oh, gee, we can make agents this amount more productive, or they can make this many more calls, or this is the visibility you see. I wanted to get into the weeds. Kim is truly one of the great BDC managers in the industry. As we grow and keep growing, we realize there's a lot of less experienced people. And so we're going to get into the weeds a little bit and talk about tactical things today. And before Kim gets going, I want to talk about Chick-fil-A. So when in Volie, we know every call that comes in inbound. That is, as we talked about last time, whether it is an appointable call or not. And what's the difference between someone who converts at 70% of the people who say, I want to schedule service, or 90. We talked about this on our last time we were all together. Well, Chick-fil-A, I've used this analogy a lot. You're going to get through the line fast, and what's in the bag is going to be in the bag. And that's kind of Kim and how she runs her BDC. And so what I was hoping we'd do today is, first of all, Kim has some very powerful standards she sets for inbound, which hopefully we can talk about. And then we have an AI product called Pulse, where we score every call. And I picked out some scenarios, and I wanted to have Kim and Sarah. I mean, you guys have both done 50 times more of this stuff than I have. And at a tactical level, how do you help these agents do this? So that's what's on my mind today. I hope everyone enjoys the show.
Excellent.
So, Kim,
Yes.
the standards that you set on an inbound call, tell us about it. What needs to happen on every inbound call?
Well, you wanted to get granular. I'm going to get real granular. The mission statement for my fixed operations BDC is that every call needs to not be transactional, but be personal, because that's going to create an entirely different experience for that customer from the beginning of the service appointment process. Speaking of process, that is the most important thing you have to have when running any department. And
sure,
I'm going to tell you, whenever we developed this at the Cooper Auto Group, I spent about 6 weeks looking at the industry, looking at the market, using my own experience as a service manager, and coming up with a process that was best going to serve not only our auto group, but our customers. You know, we all talk about retention. A good experience is going to create 5 more. A bad experience, you're never going to get a chance with that customer again. So everything for me involves process. And it's one of the things that lately has become a lot more easy to define who needs what tweaking. And we'll get into that. But my process starts with the greeting. I know we've all called somewhere and gotten that hurried greeting that they just want to get through that part that they have to say.
Yes.
I was told to say this. No. We coach on each other as far as, hey, greet me. And what I've noticed, the biggest thing that makes the difference is pace. Slow down the greeting. You can say the same thing at, 100 words a minute, or 45, and it makes the biggest difference that you could imagine. That slow greeting relaxes the customer, and the agent is prepared to listen better. So that was the main thing. A friendly, upbeat, well-paced greeting. That is definitely one of my hot topics.
Kimberly, can I add to that? A lot of times when folks are moving too fast, they give their name, and if they're going too fast, the person on the other end can't comprehend or catch that name. Okay, so you're right. The pace is so important.
It truly is, and I am a natural fast talker. I have had to learn from one of my agents. She has the most beautiful speaking voice, and she is naturally a slow-paced talker. And I noticed that I absorb more of what she says than pretty much anybody else. And it's because I'm having to slow myself down to listen to her. So that she helped form a lot of the things that we progressed on over the years. After the customer is well greeted and they've come in and they've said what it is they're calling for, here comes what I know, Ted, you already mentioned that you had heard me talk about before and liked, the power words and phrases. We use different verbiage to say the same thing. You can say, yeah, okay, or you can say, absolutely, of course, certainly. What sounds better? And it takes, guys, I'm going to tell you, sometimes it takes the customers by surprise. They're used to hearing, okay, go ahead. They're not used to hearing, certainly, I'm the exact right person to help you with that. Let's get started. They're not used to that.
And you're intentional about that.
You're very intentional. After you say that affirmation of, yes, I heard you, let's do that. You lead right in. You don't say, okay, and stop. You say, absolutely, let's get started. Certainly, I'm the person that can handle this for you. Let's get started. And so, it's combining things that they're not comfortable at first saying and talk about working together. That when we're training, it's tell me yes 10 different ways. And I still get cracked up. I just got a brand new location with brand new offices, and it's all open at the top. So because I like to be in the middle, I like to hear everything. I heard one of my agents use an affirmation word that I hadn't heard before, and it took me by surprise. She got free lunch that day. She got, because she used the word brilliant. And I thought, that's amazing. She said, brilliant, let's go ahead. And I just thought, I didn't teach her that. She got that one. So they will own it, and they'll even have fun. Let's think of a different word that we can use. And everybody has to use this word today, and it's not one of our normal ones. And so the customers, sometimes it'll tickle them, but it definitely takes them aback and creates a different experience than when they called and paid their phone bill, when they called Jiffy Lube, when they called, whatever dealership next down the street. We want to be different. So once you've used those great affirmations, one thing that helps to make the process from transactional to personal is insisting upon using the customer's name. Once they've said it to you, and am I speaking with Mary Smith? Yes, this is Mary. Hi, Mary. Thanks so much for calling. Let's go ahead and get you started. And then at the end, Mary, I sure have appreciated you calling us. Thank you so much, and we'll see you and do the recap. Use the customer's name twice. It lets them know that you were listening the whole time. These are all easy things. This isn't rocket science, but it's things that are just not done
right
in the normal scheme of things. We also, another thing that I ask is, even though all of our software, and Volie's great, it pops up all the customers' information, we can see that they've been with us before. But we ask them, have you visited the Cooper Auto Group before? And the reason we do that is not so much for the answer, because we know it's a yes or a no, whether we have the information or not. It's to say, thank you for choosing us, or thank you for your continued business right at that point. We say thank you before the end of the call. Thank you for calling. Everyone says that. We tell them thank you for your business and calling us right then. So that to me is a deal breaker. These 4 things so far are just, every call has to have it, every incoming call. And then, the very last thing, or one of the last things, is everything that we do as a dealership and all of our marketing, anything that we can do to help a customer, anything we do to update the manufacturer, is based upon email addresses. We always verify the email address, because if there's one in there, it might be an old one. So always keep information updated, just so that customer has better information from the manufacturer, incentives from us, things like that. And then lastly, always, always, always tell the customer thank you for their business, and recap that appointment and ask if they have any questions and if they know where our dealership is. And that's going to create a perfect phone call. The customer is going to get off the phone, feel comfortable. When they pull onto the service drive, they're going to know exactly what's going to happen. Everything just flows because we're the introduction to that visit, and it's got to be great.
And Kimberly, you make it, I don't want to say the word competitive, but you make it fun within the BDC, because if today's word is brilliant, you make sure that all of us at some point today are using that word with our customers. Brilliant.
Absolutely. And, I'll even stand in the middle of the room and just pass little tokens out every time I hear certain words. And whoever has the most tokens at the end of the day gets a paid day off. Just every now and then, just to create that sense of team and let them know that I appreciate that they're doing the things that we all came up with together and that they're following it. Because it's not me telling them what to do. Over time, things have evolved. Hey, what if we? How about we? And great ideas get implemented.
Using the customer's name is so important. Scott, these would all be considered part of those standards for taking those calls.
Yeah, and thanks for letting me jump in, Ted. Just a little bit more about this BDC. Their average agent has been there for years. They are doing, from when they signed up with Volie to now, 6 times the number of outbound appointments, 30, 40, 50% more inbound volume. And, Volie helps, but the key is everyone wants the way forward in life. And what Kim sets these standards up, and everyone listening just really realize she's giving them a guide map for how to be successful, her agents, and they stay and they like the place. I wrote down today's word, and I thought, I bet they're laughing when someone gets in the word, on occasion when they're keeping score. I just, the famous book, with the term discipline equals freedom. I mean, that's what I was thinking of. These standards are vital. They help with retention too.
Yeah. Sarah, your thoughts?
Well, Ted, it's really exciting to hear all the pieces that Kimberly has put in place. But I want to go back on the process for a minute piece, because, what Kimberly's describing in that customer experience, whether it's new or not, usually if a customer is calling a dealership for service, most OEMs, you're coming in every 6 months. So it's a brand new experience potentially for that customer to, get reintroduced to the dealership. And these standards just continue to elevate that experience as long as you have a team that, is willing and able to adhere to them and keep that process consistent.
Yeah, great point. Scott, you mentioned earlier one of the products you've got at Volie, the Pulse product. And I want to learn a little bit more about that, because I'm hearing other dealers talking about the success they're having right now with you as well.
Yeah. So Pulse is a QA product for our dealers. The AI listens to and scores every call and gives the dealer actionable feedback for them to help find the lost deals. We've got alerting in here and such. And I picked out a few examples here so that Kim could talk about, when a call needs to be escalated. I've got a funny one here that I'll close with, but I can see we're a good way through here. But Kim, how do you train your agents of when to escalate a call to you or one of the managers?
Well, what I basically do is anything that involves scheduling or a general question, that's on us to handle. If it escalates beyond that, if it's an unhappy customer, if it's a question of pricing on a diagnostic item that's not maintenance, that needs to escalate. And when you escalate something, it's always a warm transfer telling whoever's on the other end of the line exactly why that call is coming in, so that customer doesn't have to say it all over again. Because if you take a frustrated customer and blind transfer them and they've got to tell somebody again why they're mad, they're madder. So
I picked a few Pulse alerts, and I'm not picking on the store. They do thousands of calls a week, inbound, outbound. Oh. So I fished through them here with a few Pulse alerts, a couple negative sentiment ones. How do you resolve the one? So I've got one up here where a customer called back in and was complaining to one of your agents that the reason they came in for service, the issue wasn't resolved.
My agents are trained to absolutely at that point commiserate with the customer. I am so sorry to hear that. Let them know that they were heard. And there is not a lot that an agent can do who schedules about that. Wow. So that call should be escalated to either the service advisor or the service manager, but it needs to go to the drive. And again, that call needs to be preempted with why the customer is calling by the agent.
What about when they were given a quote for repair and they're upset that the repair was more than what they wanted to pay for that repair?
Again, Scott, that's almost the same answer. I apologize that happened. I tell you what, it sounds like we need to look into this further for you. That is one of my agent's biggest phrases. Sounds like we need to look further into this for you. Let me get someone who can assist us with that. And again, that warm transfer, and we're off to the races. And I will also listen to those warm transfers to see how the customer was treated at the dealership level.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. This is the second favorite one that I picked out. You guys quoted someone. They called back and they wanted a coupon for it. My second favorite one I picked out. So how do you guys handle that when you get the customers negotiating with you?
Well, again, that's pricing, and my agents don't negotiate and we don't handle pricing. So, we always do try to say something along the lines of, although our prices are extremely competitive, let me get someone and see if there's anything that we can do, and we'll get you transferred over. And if there's anything that can happen, it will.
Well,
Sarah, you've done all this, been involved in this stuff. Is there anything else with escalations that is obvious that
Yeah.
BDC managers should be thinking of?
Well, to cover the three that you just had right there, right? So a repeat visit, unhappy about a circumstance, and pricing or wanting some kind of coupon. So there were some additional pieces that we built in to troubleshoot or triage, a little bit more about it. And what we called it was an opportunity bulletin process. And that was something that, Honda as an OEM has that same name as an alert piece. But what's really helpful about it is, oftentimes, so like if it's a B-back because, something wasn't diagnosed or repaired right the first time, that's an opportunity to reset an appointment with maybe a little bit more notes and more attention to what exactly is going on. So, technicians, one of the hardest things for them to diagnose are noise concerns. And oftentimes that's what comes back for second visits. So we would often have an additional triage strategy to book that appointment. And then we would alert the service manager, hey, this person's coming back in. This is a B-back. Now that means we got a shop foreman. We have more attention, or we even go get the car. If it's something like that, we can create another concierge experience to try to rectify that situation. But first things first, let's get something on the books when the customer has something convenient, because we need to see the car anyway. On the pricing piece of it, one strategy that we found really effective was that oftentimes you're running a certain service special anyway on the website. We had a coupon available that was like 10% or 15%, or you insert whatever dollar amount you wanted to have off, that just lived on the site in perpetuity. And whenever we had someone ask for a discount, we would offer to sign the customer up for that coupon, and we would import their information into that coupon, send it to them right there on the phone call, and say, here we go. We just have that confirmed for you. So now you've had it. And we could also track that against, some of our digital marketing strategies. So it was a couple different little ways to just have that, additional component to move the conversation along. But in every organization, different things fit different ways. So there's a lot, depending on your rooftops, that may work, but lots of variants and lots of great ways to do it.
I know we're probably running out of time here, Ted. We got time for a couple more of these agent coaching.
Go ahead. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do you do, Kim, when you have a customer say they're on vacation and they're a loyal customer, and you call them to get their regular scheduled appointment? I see one of the pulse alerts. We said, okay, we'll just talk to you later.
Well, had I played that for an agent, I would have absolutely said, what could we have done better? And then led off with, would you like me to call you back in 2 weeks? Because 99% of America is going to be back in a week to 10 days, no matter when they left.
Right.
Do you mind if I schedule you for a call back in 2 weeks?
Great point.
And we can get this handled for you.
Yeah, we see that a lot in the pulse alerts, where the customer needs service. They're a guaranteed customer, and the agent just needs to ask a little bit more, because they've got the customer on the phone. They can schedule it for 2 weeks out, or they can make a date to get a call back, and the customer then has a commitment with them. What about? Well, we'll just end on this one. We could go all day on agent coaching, but I see we're over the limit. This is my favorite one, or actually, I've got two I want to do here. So the first one is, how do you handle walk-ins? I see one of the pulse alerts where the customer called back, or they called the customer for appointment. They couldn't get in when they wanted, but they said they could come and wait, but it might be 3 to 4 hours or something, is what the alert said. How do you handle, what's the walk-in policy? How do you train people on that? And I know this takes coordination with the stores. How do you help agents help customers with that?
Well, we have 9 rooftops, and every rooftop has a different number of waiting appointments that they have capacity for, as far as what their technician count is. And so we abide by that. If that waiting count is full, I'm never going to tell someone they can't wait. Absolutely, you can come in and wait. However, our waiting capacity for that day has been filled, so you could be there a little bit longer than what you're normally used to. Or we can schedule it for this particular day when I have waiting capacity. What would you rather do?
Before my last one, and I hate to be hogging the time here, Ted and Sarah. What do you do every day? What is vital to work with each agent individual to improve their scores, to help the customer, their skills, et cetera? What's your daily plan with every agent?
My daily plan with every agent is in the morning, they know exactly where they are as far as what their objectives are for the month. I make sure that I keep them updated. If they don't know where they're at, they don't know where they're going. Yeah. And I have so many that just want to exceed every day. And I don't even have to talk to them about that, and then there's always the ones that need a little nudge. Something else is we will go over 2 or 3 calls. And I'm going to tell you, when we got Pulse, it made it a lot easier. Instead of me having to listen to 10 calls to find 2 or 3.
Right.
I got 2 or 3 just right there waiting, that I know there's going to be a teaching moment. And then I like to ask my agents, what happened today that made you happy? And they'll tell me a positive experience with a customer, and it's always, something when in your job, what happened today that made you smile? And that either begins or ends the day on such a positive note because they remember that great phone call.
That's a great point.
Okay. We just had Labor Day, and this is my last one. It's kind of fun. So I'm reading this Pulse alert, and the call basically goes like this. This one is just fun. I mean, the answer is obvious. Hi, I'd like to bring my car in Monday for service. I'm sorry, we're closed on Monday. Okay, thank you. Goodbye. So that's some of the stuff we read through. Obviously, Tuesday or Wednesday would have probably worked. Kim, what did I leave out today?
You could have left that one out.
Yeah, that was. Any other keys to coaching agents or escalating calls or some of these things to make it easy on your customers to do business with you?
Just be present. Be available to your agents. Be available for questions. Be available for coaching. And honestly, don't be a bubble. Get out there and talk to your service managers, your general managers. No matter how many rooftops you have, everybody has something valuable that you can learn just from being there.
Yep. Great advice, Kimberly. Yep. Powerful stuff. Kimberly Grubb, everybody, with the Cooper Automotive Group in Oklahoma. Thank you so much for your insights and for handling all those queries today. And love the material. And you had told us once before, Sarah and I, about the power words and phrases, but it really rings home today. So
thank you.
Isn't she awesome?
Oh, quit. Thanks for having me.
Okay, or maybe awesome-ish, but
esque.
Thanks, Ted.
Scott, you know what else is awesome? Is Volie, okay? And congratulations to you because you're doing a great job out there. It's in a lot of dealerships. Sarah and I are seeing it, as I mentioned earlier, the #1 BDC engine. If our audience has questions, Scott, on what Volie can do for them, what's the best way for them to get those questions answered and reach out?
Well, obviously, you can go to the website. We've got forms to fill in. My contact information's on there. I always answer my phone. So love to hear from everyone.
Yep. All right. That speaks volumes. Sarah, another great session with Volie.
Yes, we'll have to unpack some more on these alerts, Scott. This is really exciting tools for BDCs and BDC managers to help monitor what's going on in their stores.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Right. A big thank you to Kimberly Grubb and Scott Davis. Scott Davis with Volie here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
See you, everyone.
on the precipice of something new. It's the Emerging Leaders panel filmed live at our Rohrman pop-up event.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Ashleigh Norton with Blink.ai, and we have an incredible panel here today, Sarah.
Yes, we do. I'm Sarah Valentine, and today we're going to be talking about the Rohrman Automotive Group and Schaumburg Honda, the Emerging Leaders Program. But before we get into our questions today, I'd like to have each of you gentlemen introduce yourselves to our audience.
I'm Matt Miller, shop foreman here at Schaumburg Honda, an Emerging Leaders graduate. Been with the organization for 14 years.
My name is Brian, a service writer at Arlington Lexus. I was a last year graduate, and I've been with the group for going on 8 years.
My name is Sean Fork, parts specialist here at Schaumburg Honda, and graduated 2 years ago from the program.
My name is Jeremy Hardman, service manager for Arlington Acura Palatine. I graduated from Emerging Leaders of the first class the group hosted, and today's 25 years with the company.
Wow. Happy anniversary, Jeremy.
Happy anniversary.
My name is Nick Ruffalo, and I'm the Fixed Operations Director. And I've been with the organization since 2008.
So today we're talking about your Emerging Leaders program. So how do you spot an emerging leader inside the organization?
Actually, that's a great question. And me personally, what I look for, and I give my recommendation is I'm looking for not only a performance-based employee meeting the metrics and so forth that we have, say, for a service advisor, but one that you really could see that has that care and wants to grow. One that goes that extra step or that extra mile to really showcase not only their performance, but their care for the organization and willing to grow. And when that passion kicks in, I'm pulling that one off to the side and speaking on a one-to-one basis and growth.
I love it. Brian, you mentioned you're a fairly recent graduate of this Emerging Leaders program. So I'll come to you first, and then I'd like anybody else to chime in on this. But what kind of mentorship have you received, and what kind of training can you expect?
So not only have I gotten just training within being in a big group setting of what it takes to really not only be a manager or a leader in this group, in the organization in general, right? What it really takes to be to the next step and really help not only yourself but your employees and really express the culture that we provide here in the Rohrman Auto, right? I think it's just the one-on-one training I've also gotten in the Emerging Leaders program has been insane. It's been crazy. I loved every second of it. I've gotten one-on-one calls with the Emerging Leaders coach, and he's kind of just taught me everything I really need to know to not just be a normal manager, right? Like what it takes to get to the next step, right? What can I really do to be the best I can possibly be in my role? And that's what I really love about this. Not only this organization, Emerging Leader program, but the Rohrman Auto Group. It's been great.
Nick, how does the Emerging Leader, this whole program and the mentorship, you see that play out as your fixed operations director across a lot of different roles in the department? So can you elaborate a little bit on how that looks?
Well, again, looking and knowing the employee and asking the right questions to figure out what seat on the Rohrman bus would be at best for that specific employee. That's critical one, just because I may feel that an individual is good for an advisor position, they'd be different for them looking at a finance position, right? So we do knock down the silos in between the organizations. So if we do have an employee that wants to go from the variable side to fix or fix over to variable, we have that ability to have that employee give that a shot and see if that's something they're willing to try and wanting to do, going right through the Emerging Leader program. We currently now have a service manager that's working with us for now, went through Emerging Leaders, wanted to go into finance and came back on the fixed operations side, but still went through the entire program. So as far as your career path within this organization, yes, you can take different steps and tier to the right or tier to the left, and we're here to support you. Yep.
Gentlemen, any other perspectives as far as mentorship and how it's impacted you?
For me, the mentorship, it really is being the shop foreman. It's made the proper way to just approach different people in the shop. A lot of technicians, they all are very different people, and it really gives you a great perspective on how everyone is emotionally, how they adapt or how
to connect with them.
Yeah, how to connect, how to
find common ground.
Yes, how to find common ground.
One of the things the program does, it changes your mindset. Right. And you go from being an employee to buying into a product. Right. You buy into the process.
Yeah.
You know, and to be successful, you have to be with it.
Well, I think what's fantastic too is you have such a wealth of knowledge available to you because it's everyone from our directors to the ownership. And kind of like Mick was saying with the silos, you know, to come from fixed ops and a parts department and then have the opportunity to learn about finance, to learn about sales, absorption, things that you're dealing with, you know, on an ownership level. It gives you the why, not only the what. And I think as an employee, once you understand what the big picture is, it allows you to be more successful. So
Nick, one of the things I heard when you were introducing yourself is the tenure you guys are able. So you have a lot of and raised this stick around for a long time. So how has the program kind of strengthened your business overall?
Well, that I think the program just answered all those questions right there, because now our employees know that there's something that's at the end of that tunnel where they have light, where they can say, okay, I can move up into a big organization. Why spend all time and efforts on let's say we'll stay to a service advisor, for instance, in training and building out to be the top advisor, but then you go recruit a service manager or a director from outside the organization when you already been, we like to call it Romanized. They know our culture. So let's support them, get them in there, because what they're going to be then looking for is that next place for advancement. And they're going to take what they learned from us and our talent and move it over to the next dealership or auto dealer. We like to retain that. So our tenure has successfully increased over the last 4 or 5 years. Our tenure is at its ultimate high right now in fixed operations. And it's something to be proud of because of the leadership that I'm surrounded with too. So
100%.
Yep.
So for our recent graduates, do you guys have a favorite success story or something you look back on that that's really memorable to you?
I mean, all of us really are showcases of it, right? I mean, like we've all have, you know, started, some of us have started from the bottom, right? Like I know I started off as a porter, Nick started off as a porter way back when, and we started off as a porter and built our way up. And for example, I started off as a porter in this group, worked my way up to the desk, and to be given the opportunity to be in the, or recognized to be in the emerging leaders program, and then having that opportunity to run my own department was amazing. Like it at my age, I was 25 years old when I got that opportunity to do it, and it was breathtaking. It's like not a lot of people can say they started off from the very bottom. It's just washing cars, and at that age, you never think like, man, I can eventually become in a manager role or in a supervisor role. It's incredible. Like to have that ability to think like that and to be given that opportunity in this group, like it's breathtaking. It really is. It really is.
Success stories at my end as a director is exactly hearing that from an employee. Not just because he was one of my picks, but to hear that come back and knowing that the program works, and you heard it from a person that went through the program and successfully went through it, and here he is sitting on a panel with us, able to explain not only to us but the colleagues that are out there that are like him that are watching this video right now.
Very inspiring.
Yeah.
One thing I would add is the people sitting here are the ones at the top of their game. Yeah. And that program pushes you further. You know, they say iron sharpens iron, or iron sharpens iron. And this is a perfect example of that. Yeah, it's one of the best technicians I've ever met in my entire life. I was a technician. Yeah. So, you know, being able to work with him was an incredible opportunity.
Anything memorable from your experience?
You know, it's all been memorable for myself. It's actually growing up with these guys and being here decade after decade and seeing us all be successful. So, you know, it's nice to be able to sit here just with you know, people that you've grown up with almost like a family or a brotherhood and all be here. So, you know, it's not just one, it's all. It's great to see what everybody's been able to accomplish and the fact that, you know, you still have opportunity to grow even from here. I'm excited to see what the future holds. So, yeah.
Lots of exciting opportunities here at Rohrman Automotive Group and at Schaumburg Honda. Today, we're here with Ashleigh Norton. I'm Sarah Van Tyne. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Get the scoop on everything automotive warranty with our next panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Angie Piscato, joined today by Sarah Van Tyne. We are at Schaumburg Honda, part of the Rohrman Automotive Group. Sarah, we've got quite an exciting warranty topic to cover today.
We certainly do, Angie. And first, want to thank David Reinicke for being with us today from Automotive Warranty Network. And really, this entire panel, we're going to be discussing a lot of important topics related to it in the industry.
Absolutely. So, David, you've always mentioned that culture has been a big part of what makes Automotive Warranty Network successful. Can you tell me a little bit about what that means for your dealers?
Sure. So we talked a lot about culture here at the Rohrman Group as we've been here for the past a day, and how important it is, to grow your people, and your people are really what make your company. So our belief is we help our people be better. Our people are a family, so it's really important that with our people, if you groom your people right and you have the right culture, they will take care of your customer. And I think that's what we've been hearing a lot while being here at Rohrman is, growing that culture, the customer gets taken care of. And our cultures match, the Rohrman Group and AWN. So it's a really great relationship.
Absolutely. And David, before we get into our next questions with the team from Rohrman, I'd like to have the gentlemen here introduce themselves to our audience today.
Hi, my name is Omar Shabazz. I'm the service director at Shelburne Honda, and I've been here about 32 years.
I'm Jake Trout. I'm the VP of Account Management with Automotive Warranty Network.
My name is Jeremy Hardman. I'm service manager for Arlington Acura Palatine. I've been with the company for 25 years.
And my name is Nick Ruffalo, Fixed Operations Director, and I've been with the company since 2008.
Nick, I want to come to you first on this topic and then get some feedback from your managers as well. How did the relationship between Automotive Warranty Network and Rohrman Automotive Group get started?
It's a great question. So we've been with the group a long time, and we've had our own in-house or at the store level warranty admin. And we came to a decision where let's look and see what it looks like to outsource. And after several different interviews with different companies and sitting down with AWN and seeing what they have to offer and mold to what the Rohrmans were looking for, it was almost a no-brainer to go ahead and let's try and move this and move this forward. So we started this back about 8 years ago. And to be quite honest, when I was a service manager at one of our stores, I was a little hesitant on it because it's like, how are we going to do this remote? And if you're finding out that, they could be outside of the state and whatnot, but as difficult you thought it could have been, it was actually easier than what it was. And that's because the process and the team that he has at AWN and the training, the coaching, and holding us accountable and answering the questions and being there to support us from the rollout from day one led us to where we're at today, and we're still with AWN. So, yeah, we did roll that out. We were looking for, keeping us compliant. Warranty was starting to get a little more structured to where the manufacturers were coming down on us a little harder, and audits and so on and so forth. So at that time, we were looking at, hey, we got to make sure there's someone always here, and you don't lose an employee when you have another company's, doing your warranty admins and so forth for you outside. It's a great partnership.
Very good.
Yeah, and what other pieces have you both noticed as part of this partnership?
With the partnership, it's funny you talk about the consistency and so forth. I used to punch warranty for the Acura store back in the day, and it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of knowledge. You have to know all the new bulletins and so on and so forth, and that was very time consuming. And as Nick just mentioned, as time has come to now, the compliancy is just gotten out of hand, and AWN takes that all off of our hands. So the relationship that we have, especially with our warranty admins, is absolutely crucial, and it's fantastic. We're on cell phone numbers, emails, and you got a problem, give her a call. She's got a problem, give me a call. It's absolutely terrific, and I feel really at ease knowing that AWN's helping us, truthfully.
To add to what Omar said, I probably talk to my warranty admin when I talk to some of my own employees, and she does a phenomenal job. Over the years, you think you know warranty, right? And then they teach you something that you had no idea existed. And that's been one of the things that certainly has helped, grow our business and prevent loss. I mean, that's what we're all about, right? Prevent write-offs and chargebacks and audits. And that partnership has really solidified that process, and not having somebody touching on vacation time, and you don't have somebody missing if somebody's on vacation. You can take your time off and have peace of mind that your store's will be in good hands and not going to walk back in and have lots
consistency, day in and day out, compliancy, knowing all the new rules and everything like that really and their ongoing training.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get a call. Hey, I'm in training today. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And their hours. Oh my gosh, they work 10 o'clock at night. At the end of the month. I've actually been on with our warranty admin till midnight, finishing up that last bit of the month. They don't stop, which is really awesome. They are there for us.
You know, to piggyback what Omar was saying, one of the things I think that stuck out even more so was the time, because at that service manager role, if you're spending a lot of time punching and watching what's happening with warranty, who's watching what's happening inside the shop? Who's making sure the customers are being taken care of to the level that you wanted to have? Who's making sure that they're doing the process at the time of write-up? Give that to AWN and focus on working inside the store and on the business and in the business and trying to push in warranty. We're not experts in warranty. They are. And they have those experts in place for your specific brand to keep you compliant at a fast rate, to get your ROs paid for and the money back into the bank. And nobody wants chargebacks. That's all of what it is. You know, I don't want to charge back.
And now with companies being graded on processing time for that, we are consistently at the top of our game, top of our level as far as that goes. So that's fantastic.
And to the service managers that are sitting here on this panel, they may not know this, but Denise over at your facility, she's calling me on the end of the month. Like, here's where we're at, Nick. Make sure that you can let your team know I got these guys to stay a little bit later in this one, because they understand the importance for us to close our month out, you know? And that's a true partnership there. Like I've mentioned before in one of the panels, it's almost feel like they are one of our employees. Like they do work truly for the Rohrmans, even though they're with AWN, but you feel that sense like they are the person that's across the hall that was producing or punching your warranty.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Partnership is what we always preach. You know, I mean, sounds a little cliche, but we want to integrate with your company. We want to be a part of your company. We want you to be a part of AWN. There shouldn't be any kind of barrier there. It should be really cohesive and partnership. So
it's true partnership.
Jake and David, what challenges specifically have you been looking to solve together with Rohrman Automotive Group?
You know, I think it's relatively smooth now, but I mean, our challenge with what we try to solve with any dealership that we bring on, even the Rohrman Group, it is helping their staff understand what their roles and responsibilities are in the process. So I think all too often, when a warranty administrator gets a warranty claim, there's so many things that could have gone wrong since the beginning of that claim. You know, the write-up, the time punches, the technician comments, parts, whatever the case may be. So our goal is to help dealerships and in the Rohrman Group and their staff understand what those deficiencies are and train them on how to do better with that and correct those upstream so that we don't have to deal with them at the end of the road. So I think the more we can report to them and say this technician's consistently not punching properly or their comments aren't accurate, and then working with Nick and their team to and that staff member to improve that process so that it's smooth. So
yeah.
One of the things that when we onboard stores, not just Rohrman, but we really preach, communication and splitting up job roles between a technician and advisor and having each one of those really process driven. A lot of the times in stores, when we bring on a new store, we see a broken process with the warranty admin, and we find that they're tasked with 10 times more than just processing the ticket. So they're not able to prioritize and give each RO the time that it needs to be looked over and make sure it's correct.
Nick, final comments?
AWN helps us train our staff.
Yes.
Which is really fantastic. And it makes it smoother for everybody.
Omar, you nailed it right there. The service managers, we get the reports done at the end of the week. Every Friday, I have the reports on what we did for that whole week, from submissions, pays, so on and so forth. Utilizing that, coming back is your source of training back to could be the advisor, could be a parts counter person, technician. I mean, to hold up a claim because the part was charged on the wrong warranty line for days makes no sense, but that's something they could pick up in an instant. Now we just bring that right back to the parts associate. So they guys pick their fill here, or one-time use parts, so on and so forth. So compliance and communication, guys, that's key with partners.
Incredible things happening here at Rohrman Automotive Group and Schaumburg Honda. I want to thank David Reinicke and Automotive Warranty Network for being with us today here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Angie Piscato and I will be right back.
The business model of Automotive Warranty Network has always been to provide the very best service we can to automotive dealerships. We believe very much in partnerships, so we partner with dealerships to help them process their warranty repair orders the best they can, but also stay compliant with a manufacturer policy and procedure.
Dealerships, some of them don't understand the importance of the supporting documentation. The repairs are performed, manufacturer is going to come in and audit them. That supporting documentation needs to stand up in an audit. If not, those monies will be charged back to the dealership. So, important thing that our team provides the dealerships is the information where the supporting documentation does not support the repairs performed, where they could lose those monies in an audit.
Audits are not scary. Audits are actually fantastic learning experiences. I am a big proponent for audits. I am not perfect. I do not think anybody is perfect. AI isn't even perfect. It is such a learning experience, and manufacturers are looking for things differently every year, and it keeps us on our toes. Then I know that I could take that information that I gather and provide it to my other dealerships and say, hey, we need to stay on top of these things.
We offer full warranty administration services from beginning to end, from reviewing technician comments and punch times, looking up and applying labor operations and times in the DMS, and transmitting to the manufacturer for payment. We then follow up on claims daily and account for any differences in payment.
SWAT stands for Specialized Warranty Assistance Team. We provide coverage for admins who could be taking vacation, if there's family medical leave, bereavement, sick time. So we provide coverage so that there's no hiccup between the admin being out and the dealer having their work processed.
We developed an application called CARS, which stands for Claim Accountability and Reporting System, which is a reporting tool that we use to help dealerships improve in their processes. So it's a tool that we use to identify how frequently compliance issues are happening in a dealership. And we can tell dealerships how frequently those problems are happening, which of their staff members is happening with. And then we also offer training to help educate those particular staff members on the types of issues that they're having and help them improve.
I think the biggest thing I love about this company is the owners. David and Jamie, they care about us. They encourage us to do training. They encourage us to make sure that we're master certified in our car lines.
When I started with AWN, we had 30 employees and about 167 clients. Currently, year to date, we're at 1,500 clients and 340 employees and growing. It's pretty amazing. The people that are with us, our clients, we love them. It's a pretty amazing place to be right now.
Tally ho, good sir. Or in this case, Siro.ai, our next speaker.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Gavin Janis is with us with a company called Siro, in-person conversational intelligence, and it's actually that and a whole lot more. First time on the Roundtable. Gavin, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks for having me, Ted. Very excited for this.
We are as well. You've got some really cutting-edge tools with Siro, and you're about to take the automotive industry by storm. And if those who haven't heard of you are tuning in, I think they're in for a real treat. So, Gavin, appreciate you being here. Give us a little bit of Siro's history and, how did you get into automotive?
Yeah. Just so everyone's clear kind of what we do, super high level. We'll get into the details of it in a bit here, but Siro is a mobile application that records and analyzes your in-person, face-to-face, service, finance, and sales conversations at the dealership. But our history, right? So our founder, Jake Cronin, if you're familiar with Cutco knives, they have the high school kids, college kids selling those. He did that when he was in high school and did that again his first year of college because he made, great money and was like, wow, this is a great opportunity. Ended up managing a ton of people. And that's where he actually came up with this idea. So the reason Siro exists, right? We know, and Jake knows, and a ton of people actually at Siro come from in-person selling worlds that in-person conversation, I mean, that is the core of your business. This is where revenues won or lost. This is where your reputation is earned or tarnished. And there's just tons of opportunities that can be captured in those conversations for training and quality purposes that are just being lost today. And so Siro started 5 years ago. Our first customers were door-to-door companies. Then we got pulled into home services and home improvement companies. And now we serve a variety of different industries, whether it's retail, business to business sales. And then, earlier this year, we got into automotive and been having some great success and seeing pros of this product on all sides of the business. And that's really how we got there.
You and I were speaking in the green room before our session, Gavin, and you got a fascinating story how you got involved with Siro during your college days. I don't know if you want to share some of that, but I thought it was a really, really great fit.
Yeah, happy to. I think there's probably two routes you can earn your sales stripes. It's getting into car sales or doing door-to-door sales. They're both gritty, difficult, cutthroat industries. And I took the door-to-door route. In college, I had to pay for school. Parents only helped me with 1 year. Everything else was on me. And I was convinced I could graduate with zero debt. And so I was researching opportunities, found out you can sell pest control door to door in the summer. So yes, I was one of those annoying people that knocked on your door. And I did that for a summer, had great success, did it the next summer, had even better success. And so I ended up doing that for 6 years, even a few years after college. And where this all comes back together is my last year, my company, the CEO calls me, hey, we're going to pilot this product called Siro in your region. And I had 60 sales reps in Atlanta, Raleigh, Wilmington, Tampa, all across the country. And it was fantastic, right? We used it that summer. My reps were recording in-person conversations and I was able to coach everywhere at any time. And we saw incredible results. And long story short, I actually ended up, getting approached by the founder of Siro at the time. And he's like, hey, we'd love to actually have you join the company as our founding sales hire. And so I was employee 7 at Siro and have seen us grow from, a small startup to the big time company that it's becoming.
And if I'm not mistaken, Gavin, Siro can be used for a lot of things. It's AI based, but among them is a coaching tool as well. If you want to speak to that, because I thought that would be really unique as well.
Yeah. So getting into the depths of like how this thing works, right? So typically what we're seeing at the dealership, right, is you can use Siro on any mobile device. So iPad, phone, tablet, whatever need be. We'll capture that conversation, we'll transcribe it, and then we analyze it. Now, when we analyze it, there's a ton of different things that we do. One of those is a coaching aspect. There's a few things that we can do. We can summarize the conversation and highlight what you could have done better with objection handling, building rapport, asking better discovery questions, whatever it may be. Wow. You'll have the ability to interact with Ask Siro. This is your personal AI coach. What did I do well? What could I do better? How could I better handle this objection? Siro will run through that recording, give you feedback on it. We track your speech analytics. Did you speak too fast? Did you speak too much? Did you talk 90% of the time or did you talk 50% of the time? Because we know the close rate between 40 to 60% speaker share is significantly higher than when you're speaking 90% of the time. And so there's a ton that we do on the analysis front. And really the idea, right, is we want to give your people who want to get better a tool that they can get better on their own time. And then managers, it's so difficult to understand where you need to spend your time coaching. Siro will do that like that. We score every conversation and tell you exactly where each individual needs to spend time getting better to perform better.
And in the dealership, that time is such a valuable asset. If I'm a manager, it's valuable. I want to make sure I'm coaching the right things. So this is really an advanced AI assistant, if you will, for many people in the dealership. Tell us more about how it works. I'm fascinated with this.
Yeah. So I'll run you through, I was on site with a customer yesterday, and I'll run you through what we just discovered using Siro's analytics in 5 minutes. That he probably actually would have never understood this before. So they've got a new service advisor I'm working with, their manager. And so service advisor comes off. This was an express is what they call it, which is just a standard oil change, but the customer was up and they were on their last oil change before needing to get in a new maintenance package, and the new service advisor didn't sell a new package. And so Tim asked what happened, and he said the guy, this was a big dude. I saw the guy truck, big scary guy. He said the guy didn't want to move forward. He was going to do it somewhere else, whatever the excuse was. Well, we went back in, listened to the recording. That service advisor actually didn't even bring it up. And then this got, the service manager excited. Okay, let's go into Siro. Is this a common theme for this guy? And so we went into the scorecard, because in every conversation we track if the service advisor brings up that worry-free maintenance or not. And so we looked at the scorecard and we saw that this service advisor was only bringing it up in 62% of conversations, where he should have been bringing it up 100% of the time in those conversations. And so this turned the flashlight on immediately. It's pretty shocking. Most of the guys were over 90%. They were doing a pretty good job, but there was 2 others that were south of that. And so this immediate light bulb start flashing. Me and the service manager, we pulled the guys in. It's like, guys, what are we doing? And it's been pretty cool just to see those immediate wins that you would realistically probably have no clue if these conversations were not recorded.
What a great tool. And you're right. I think the biggest reason, for an example, that a service advisor doesn't make the sale is they don't ask. Okay.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned in so many of those cases, they weren't asked. So you track all of this. Tell me more, because obviously I think you solve a lot of pain points at the dealership.
I mean, we track all kinds of stuff. What was really valuable for another dealership that we work with, I'll just give a sales example here. Even though this, obviously applies across everything, we track objections. So these guys, they train every single week. What objections should we be dealing with? And when we were looking at the data, one of their reps had about double everybody else on the I need to think about it objection. And this just was a massive outlier. It was like 45 something percent. Everybody else, the company average was 20 something. And they dove into 5 recordings, quickly went in, asked Siro, what could the rep have done better? Next question, what could the rep have done better? Did 5 of those. And every single one of those, it showed that this sales rep was building absolutely zero urgency. There was no reason for the customer to buy right here and then. Put zero attempts to, guide the customer. They're making the right decision on the car, but just was total. I mean, in one conversation, before even attempting to close, the sales rep told the customer, hey, you don't have to make a decision today. You can think about it. Now, this is a newer sales rep. He's figuring out, how to get better. But that's one example as well. We track all that objection data. We also track and compare how fast everybody talks, all those things that we talked about earlier. And then, unless you got any other questions on like the analytics manager view, I'll actually talk to you how one specific service advisor is actually using it to get better on his own. Do you want me to dive in there?
Sure.
Or do you got anything else?
No, I want to hear that.
Cool. So the service advisor, Miguel, great guy. And he was so excited about Siro, power user from day one. And we were on site with them yesterday. I was asking him, hey, what have you learned about this? Well, he goes, every single recording, I go to the room for improvement section of my summary. So that's one of the summary sections for this account. And he goes, I really started to notice 2 trends. He goes, one, like when I ask for the sale, it's pretty timid. There's not a lot of confidence behind it. I stutter. There's a lot of uhs and ums. So as I've significantly gotten better there, I deliver my closes with confidence every single time, because I've seen repair orders that would have probably never pushed through before actually go through. And then what he thinks is most important, he didn't realize how poor he was at asking better discovery questions. And so Siro is actually recommending discovery questions that he could ask that he's not asking. And, examples, customer says, I've got X pain point with my car. It'd be before Siro, what he was saying, he's like, yeah, okay, great, and move on. Now he pauses. Oh, tell me more. Why do you think it does that? How is that impacting you? He's asking these questions and he's just seeing his revenue skyrocket. And I think he's, I forget exactly what he told me, but he's on pace to have one of his best months. And he fully believes it's from Siro because everybody else is having a pretty slow month. So, yeah.
So I was going to ask you, how do service advisors take to Siro? But it would seem that it's pretty obvious that they're going to use this to close a lot more deals because Gavin, they get objections like you and I and everybody else gets in life.
Yeah.
There's a lot of objections and probably more often in the service lane than anywhere else in the dealership. So they're responding favorably to this.
I'd BS you if I said it was just sunshine and rainbows all the time. There will be some folks that are hesitant to this. We've even had people, it's funny, this happens all the time, who outright tell their manager, I'm not doing this. Weirdly enough, those are the people who 2 weeks in are like screaming from the rafters that Siro is the best tool ever. But it's really how you roll this out. So we've actually, we're 5 years in this business of how to get people confident, excited, and comfortable with recording. And so we've got a very detailed process on this, and it really all starts at the top. Like when we have a GM get involved in that first meeting, explaining to the team why we're introducing this, what we see value in, how it's not going to be a big brother micromanagement tool. We're not using this to get you fired and catch you and tell you everything you did wrong. We are using this to find what you can do better to help you put more money in your pocket, help pay for your kids' school, help pay off that new truck, whatever it may be. And so we do a big sell job with management from the dealership before we even roll this out. That's actually a step. We won't even sign agreements with the customer until we do that. Because if we don't think your service advisors, your sales team, your F&I managers are going to buy in and want to use this, then this is going to be a big flop and waste of everybody's time. But I'll tell you right now, we run through that meeting. We've not had one meeting where the users on the other end are not excited about using Siro. And then from
you
there,
mentioned F&I managers. I imagine this applies to the entire dealership, sales managers, F&I managers, the whole gamut.
Yeah, if you've got an in-person conversation that is a selling conversation and it feels like a black box, you don't know what's happening in those convos and you want more data, this thing applies. And the cool thing is we support phone systems, and we're building for all the different phone system integrations in the automotive space as we speak as well. So you'll have this all conversational hub with Siro. But for now, our bread and butter is the in-person world. And we're working towards capturing those phone conversations as well right now.
Gavin, how difficult is this for a dealership to get started? Once the leadership is bought in.
Yeah. So typically what it looks like, our implementation, like the onboarding, getting everyone up to speed, comfortable with how the application works, fine-tuning the AI, that takes about 2 weeks to get everything up and running. You're familiar with the application. Everyone kind of has a good idea of how it works. By no means are we done there. That's just to get you up and running. Then what we do is we meet with management weekly. We're doing a handful of things. One, for sure, there will be a need to fine-tune the AI. Maybe it's not tracking this objection correctly. Maybe it's not tracking this step in the process that you want to make sure your people are hitting. So we're going to be fine-tuning that. That typically is done within a month. Then at about month 1 to 2, we've got enough data from recordings to really start diving in with management to start pulling out these insights to help improve performance. And then at that point, we're figuring out best practices in month 2. And I've seen some customers continue to meet with us after month 2, but typically by about 8 weeks in, you are using this tool effectively. The AI is working as you'd expect, and everybody's comfortable with the entire platform. Cool thing is, I'll tell you right now, the group I was on site with the other day, they started last week and they're already getting crazy value from it. So you get value from like day one, but when you're really nailing the program, that takes anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks. And just want to be transparent on that. There's going to have to be some stuff we got to teach you, but we are very hands-on in the onboarding. We'll hold your hand through that to make sure that, a dealer's using this correctly.
Gavin, is this even legal?
Yeah. It's the question I've gotten every single year at Siro, especially when we start speaking with people who have not heard about Siro. And yes, it's definitely legal.
Of course.
Here's what the process looks like for this. So there's 39 states where you actually don't have to inform the customer at all. Those are one-party consent states. We still recommend doing it, but it's really up to you. And the reason we recommend doing it is because there's 11 states where you do have to get consent. And it's less than a 1% decline rate in those states. We actually see, we have one dealership out of Utah, they didn't even have to ask for consent. And they're doing it anyways. And here's how they're doing it. And you'll see why. It's like, Ted, let's say they use in the F&I office. Let's say, Ted, you came into me and before we kick off, I break the ice. How you doing? Hey, excited about the car, yada, yada. Oh, hey, Ted, by the way, here at ABC dealership, we use Siro. It's an AI note taker. We do this for quality and training purposes. My manager just wants to make sure I deliver great customer experience by you today, and we don't forget any of those key details. Are you okay if I let that run in the background? And so right there, you're hearing, you would literally hear customers on the other end going, oh, wow, I like that. I got screwed over by this dealership 2 years ago, yada, yada, yada. And so you can really use it as a selling tool. But again, you only have to do that in 11 states, 39. You can press record. It's one party. You don't actually have to inform anybody.
Fascinating. And now it's here. Siro is here for automotive, and the learning curve to get up and running. So once a dealership reaches out to you and the Siro team, what are the next steps?
Yeah. So I'll run you through a full product demo in that initial call. We want to show you how the application works. We want to show you how coaching works. We want to show you how those analytics work. Then from there, pretty simple. We set up like an implementation meeting to show you what that looks like. We walk you through the first 2 weeks, all those mandatory meetings, then talk about the following weeks where we're fine tuning on, the usage, the AI, and all of that stuff there. Obviously, one thing, we don't gatekeep price. We'll cover price with you based on your dealership size, and call one to make sure you're clear on what that looks like. But that call two is Q&A, talking about implementation and talking about, best practice on usage, because this thing's kind of like a gym membership. It's, you get out of it what you put into it. If you get into Siro 30 minutes a week, you'll find some stuff, but if you get into Siro 2 hours a week, you're going to find a lot more. And so we talk about the sweet spots for that. We don't want you to be listening to hours of recordings. That's a waste of time. We talk about that in the second meeting. Typically from there, most dealerships are ready to make their decision. And from there, we schedule out the onboardings if you're ready to move forward and get this thing launched within, a week or two.
So it's in-person conversational intelligence. You're using AI. It's the most modern tools. Brilliant, Siro. Okay. And you capture a lot of information. You save the dealership a lot of time. You make the people who work there a lot more efficient. And in return, that's going to be better for the customer in the long run as well, of course.
Totally. And that's a big part of this. I don't think we actually talked about that much today. It's, this is a revenue driver. We doesn't happen overnight. 60, 90 days, you will start to see performance improve. But also, we know in the automotive space, happy customers, they come back. They come back every few years. They come back every single time for their service appointment. And if you can hone in and making sure that your people are delivering that great customer experience, that's another piece that hard to directly quantify with Siro, but that's a big part of this as well. Let's make the customer happy, and you can hold your people accountable to that.
Repeat and referral business, my service advisors, my customer-facing employees, and now, Gavin, I would imagine including the technicians, because more and more of them are front-facing with a lot of the technology that's integrated in there as well.
Yep, we've got some fun ideas of stuff coming around the technician side of things soon here.
All right, so for our audience watching today who has questions, may want to learn more, Gavin, Janis, what's the best way for them to take the next step and reach out to Siro? Reach out to you.
I'm old school. Give me a call if that's the best. Numbers at the bottom. But always great to shoot me an email, and then we'll actually go ahead and attach a booking link to my calendar as well at the end here and send that out. So you can always click that and find time with me directly. But yeah, give me a call, shoot me an email, or use that link that we'll send out directly right here.
I'd like to invite you back to the next roundtable, Gavin, and let's perhaps bring some dealers in and even service advisors that are using Siro, and let's have a roundtable with them, and let's get their input on here as well. But congratulations to you, Gavin. Great work on Siro, and I know we're going to be seeing and hearing a lot more of this in the future. So
thanks for the time, Ted. This was great. Really excited about this space. It's been awesome working with the groups and dealerships that we're already with, and excited to speak with more soon here.
All right, everybody, reach out to Gavin Janis. He's with a company called Siro, making an impact in retail automotive, in-person conversational intelligence, utilizing AI to make your people better, increase revenues, and increase customer satisfaction. Gavin Janis from Siro, everybody, here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Hey guys, Martin here, head of sales at Siro.ai. We're the intelligence platform for in-person sales. In this video today, I'm going to talk through the number one thing our top customers are doing that our average customers are not. Just as a reminder, Siro.ai is a tool that records, transcribes, and analyzes in-person sales interactions. We capture a ton of data through this process, which powers coaching, peer-to-peer learning, and cross-sell rehash workflows. So when we onboard customers naturally tend towards their low performers, right? Once they have these recordings of what's happening in the field, they're very excited to understand, are people adhering to the process? And then once they're adhering to the process, are they executing the process effectively? This is very good, and this does drive great increases in total sales output. But one of the counterintuitive things we found is actually the highest leverage thing to do once you implement this technology is spend a disproportionate of time listening to your top performers, deconstructing what they're doing, and then actually disseminating those nuggets of gold to the rest of the team. Let me actually break down what this looked like for one of our top performing customers and how it led to better results. So there was a big restoration shop in the Southeast, and for them, they had one clear in a way top performer. What they did once they started recording was they did listen to a lot of his interactions. What it turns out is that he was doing a relatively nuanced same-day closing technique that was above and beyond the process that they taught. Turns out that actually no one else knew that this tactic existed within their organization. So once they were able to codify what he was doing and why it was working better than his peers, they took that, and in the next team meeting, they shared it to everyone. I know this sounds insane, but literally the next week, closing rates across the team went up 20% because they just never knew that this tactic existed. In summary, guys, absolutely still ensure that your low performers are starting to follow the process when you record. Ensure that you're diving into specific moments and coaching on the effectiveness of that process, but do not forget to spend time listening to your top performers and actually break down and deconstruct what's making them top performers. And if you can find one or two nuggets of gold, share those with the team and you're gonna get some quick wins right away.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Meet the Amplifiers contest finalists in our next segment.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we are in Dallas, Texas. We are at the Reynolds & Reynolds Amplify Summit. And Ted, we have some very exciting guests with us on this panel today.
Sarah, we do. We have the Amplifier contest finalists. So if it's all right, I'm going to ask you each to introduce yourself, starting with James, your first and last name, the dealership you represent, and just give us a high-level overview of your best practice. James first.
My name is James Dieli. I'm with Bo Townsend Ford Lincoln. I'm here to speak about the usage of a tool to help people through proactive contact and engagement with our clients.
Good morning. My name is Chris Lasko, and I'm from BMW and Mini of Pittsburgh. I am here super excited to talk about a way we helped our sales team unify their information to make it easier to sell cars.
My name is Rick Sheppard. I'm from the Upstring Auto Group in Peoria, Illinois. And my innovative best practice is I created a program in Microsoft Access for service declines recovery.
Good.
I am Camille Martinez Diaz. I am from Pepe Auto in Puerto Rico. My best practice was transform the deal jacket into a digital one from the showroom through the accounting back office integrated one system.
Hi, my name is Chris Pont. I'm with Scranton Chevrolet in Norwich, Connecticut. My best practice was a way to use the lost sale tool in Reynolds so that we could have a higher off-the-shelf fill rate and increase our overall sales.
Wow. How exciting is it to be part of all this, all the activity, people humming around, getting ready for the event here today? James, you were part of this Amplify event last year. Tell us a little bit about what it's like to come back a second year in a row.
I'm so excited to be back. There's no place I'd rather be to talk about fixed operations, variable operations, and share ideas with everybody.
And I'm just listening to some of the best practices that you have. Kamir, the one that you mentioned about the deal jacket,
that's been such a big part of the automotive business. It seems like forever, right? In the sales department, that digital, that physical deal jacket. Now you making it a digital one.
Yes.
What gave you the idea to do that?
Well, it was a team collaboration. We integrate all the parts. We hear our people. So we make sure all the pain points and we make the process.
Wow. What about your best practice? How did you come up with that?
When I started at the dealership, we had a very low off-the-shelf fill rate, which meant we were not being able to give our customers what they needed for their cars the same day.
Right.
So a lot of times we lost sales based on that. So by increasing that, we've increased our profits and customer satisfaction.
And I've heard it said, Sarah, that parts sells hours. We can't do anything without parts. So to sell those hours, we got to make sure that we've got everything accessible to the dealership as well.
Correct.
What about your best idea, Rick? Where did you come up with that?
So we have service advisors, don't have time to call customers back, busy all day long. So service director came to me and said, what can we do? So I created a program that generates the work out of Reynolds and Reynolds advanced service that allows me to get the data to send a letter personalized to the customer to get them to come back in and have that work done.
And Chris, what gave you the idea to start your best practice?
We got tired of answering the question of, hey, is that car sold? So instead, we just went around and found all the different solutions you have available now. Your information is very fragmented. So we just committed to unifying it into one platform that we built.
Can I ask, are you all Reynolds and Reynolds clients? You know, your dealerships, do you all work with Reynolds?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, Sarah, it's interesting how some of the best ideas and eventually best solutions and products are born out of solving a pain point like this.
So true, Ted. And really, this entire contest is about innovation and solving those problems. And so it's really fascinating to hear all of the challenges that they've overcome.
I got to ask you all, how are you continuing to seek out and share innovative ideas? I mean, this is a great forum to be able to do this, right, with your peers and get input from them as well and be rewarded for that recognition. But, where do you look for innovative ideas? How do you, because it's tough, you're in the dealership incubator, if you will, to look outside the dealership to find out what others are doing.
That's what events like this help. With a 20 group or event like this, you get to not only share your best practice or ideas you've come up with, but you get to hear other ones. And there's so many smart people out there that are in the trenches every day. So to get to hear what they've overcome really helps out.
This is exciting. And in Puerto Rico, what a great retail market you've got there. What great dealers. A lot of people don't realize that it's so close to here. But, how do you reach out? How do you look for innovative ideas?
Well, in our business, it's part of our DNA, it's part of our core values. So we always are seeking to improve. That's what makes us move, be different, and resilient. So it's part of the DNA.
Rick, what about you?
Well, I kind of grew up as a data guy, so I'm always into looking for new and better ways to do things, and to be able to write my own programs and use the data from Reynolds has been amazing. What we can do with that. I mean, we got dozens of programs that eliminates multiple employees, really, because it's all click a button and it does, 20, 30 queries. And there's your report, there's your data, creates a letter, postcard, whatever. So really fun to do.
And Rick, you talked to us about parts and fill rate, service advisors as well. Okay. Isn't it great that we're talking about not just sales, but fixed operations as well? That a lot of the unsung heroes in the parts department, or service advisors who don't typically, get to tell their story. Here we are talking about great ideas for them as well.
Yes. I mean, service advisors, I know they appreciate us sending these letters out. I mean, one guy mentioned, I asked this customer about buying that service, and he said, but then they get the letter and say, oh, it looks like I need to have this done. Even though he tried to sell it to him, but the letter in black and white, that got him sold.
Chris, what about you?
I think it's just that that cross-pollination of ideas from whether you're talking about breaking through the silos in the dealership or you're talking about learning from what another dealer does from another dealer. It's that. And right now, there's so much opportunity to innovate. There's no reason you should have any pain points if you just go looking and asking enough people. So,
James, was the idea or best practice you have today the same one that you had at the last Amplifier event, or is this something completely different that you have today?
It's something completely different, but I think the award that I won with for best practice last year spurred me to come up with this idea. And I think a lot of my ideas and best practices and what we work towards with innovation come from our clients and our team, and figuring out what their challenges are and how to solve those challenges with getting their input and getting them to come up with how we can better serve our clients.
That's not easy to have a two-peat, okay? You know, to have one great idea and then come back again a year later. As I recall, your idea last year had something to do, if I'm not mistaken, maybe with warranty.
It was paperless throughout the fixed operations department. So no paper from check-in to invoicing to the parts department, no paper involved.
Would that be Nirvana?
Right. That is an incredible point that oftentimes is a hang up in the customer experience. Just in our final moments, we're about ready to have a lot going on at Amplify today. But what are y'all most excited about the conference?
Start with Jay.
I'm most excited to present for a second time and to meet all of the new faces and see some familiar ones.
I'm just excited to walk away with 2 or 3 or 4 great ideas.
I think with the wealth of knowledge that we're going to have here today, learning more and continuing to get that knowledge and from all the different ones that are going to be here, it's exciting to be here.
Well, I'm excited. I'm practicing my English, so it's a challenge for me. And share this experience means a lot for me.
Great. Bring it on.
I'm excited to share my idea, just see what other people think of it, because also seeing what other people think of what you've come up with is always a benefit, and also hearing all the great ideas that my competitors have.
Yeah, well, everybody, congratulations on being an Amplifier finalist. Congratulations, and again, best of luck today, throughout the day. And Sarah, exciting times.
Very much, Ted. It's an exciting opportunity for these people, and it's exciting to see what will happen today.
I'm Ted Ings. I'm here with Sarah Van Tine. We're at the Fixed Ops Roundtable at the Reynolds Amplify event in Dallas, Texas. Sarah and I are going to be right back.
Meet Relo, the automated parts runner designed to minimize technician downtime and streamline service operations. Today, we're going to walk through exactly how Relo works, step by step. It all starts here. The technician completes an inspection and recommends work for the vehicle. The advisor sends the estimate to the customer using e-approval. Once approved, the parts department is notified and can begin fulfilling the order. The parts counter person gathers the required parts and places them on Parts Rack 1. Most dealerships will have multiple racks, and one Relo can handle deliveries from unlimited racks to unlimited bays. Once the parts are ready, the counter person assigns a delivery directly from the parts application in Era Ignite. Relo autonomously navigates to the designated bay, avoiding obstacles along the way. You never have to worry about Relo getting stuck, running into objects, or needing manual assistance. It can easily maneuver a variety of indoor spaces. Once it arrives at the service bay, the technician retrieves the parts without ever leaving their workspace. It's designed to operate independently and keep your service department running smoothly. When Relo needs a charge, it automatically returns to its docking station. On average, Relo's battery lasts 12 hours, ensuring it's available throughout the workday. With a load capacity of 660 pounds, Relo can transport anything from small parts to full sets of tires. Relo is changing the way dealerships operate by minimizing technician downtime and optimizing service efficiency.
The Fixed Ops Roundtable Certified program is designed to help preferred dealers and partners with powerful tools, resources, and marketing to achieve even greater success and help grow revenue. Ted Ings and I invite you to learn more today at fixedopsroundtablecertified.com.
Up next, it's the man of the hour. It's Brian Benstock.
And I'm the leader of the dealership. And here we go. Well, how's Toyota reacting to the tariffs? Toyota says, we're going to raise prices. We're going to raise prices. And I heard Volkswagen's doing that, and the Audi division's doing the same. And then you see this cat.
In a shocking announcement that could mark the end of China's EV dominance, Elon Musk has just revealed Tesla's 2025 Tesla Model 2 with an unbelievable price tag of under $11,759. Could this be the moment that reshapes the entire automotive industry? What if I told you this price isn't just a marketing stunt, but part of Tesla's brilliant global strategy?
The challenge for many of us in the room, the challenge for me, is people are looking to us for the answers. You're leaders. You're leaders. We're leaders. I'm a leader. And people will say, Benstock, what do we do? And I don't have the answers. Which side's right? Is it the left? Is it the right? The Republicans, the Democrats? Is it go long? Is it go short? And so I lean into the data. I stopped using this a long time ago, my gut. And I lean into the data, and the data says that there's still a one-to-one correlation between search and purchase intent. Okay, so for every 10 people that search for a car, 9 buy a car. That's the data. You don't have to like the data, but for every 10 that look for one, 9 buy a car. And search is up 2% this year. So that's good. That's good information. That's good news. And the search is continuing for parts. It's expected to be one of the top 3 e-commerce categories for 2025. Not one of the top 3 automotive categories, but one of the top 3 categories, right? Okay, length of vehicle ownership is increasing. Okay, so our technician friend there might be in the right place at the right time with the right field, and vehicle maintenance, cars are becoming more advanced. Well, you're going to need more skilled labor. Okay, so we're going to lean into that data. And if the data is driving everything we're doing, what's happening with tire search and battery search and brake search and muffler search and oil change? And when I look at my dealer colleagues, do they have search terms for these different products? And by and large, we don't. I'm not here to say, yes, we do. No, as an industry, automobile dealers don't have those search nets, their fishing nets set up there so that when customers are searching for those things, that we can catch fish. And it's surprising how long things take, and it's shocking how fast they happen. And they're happening, right? Elon Musk said the companies that will succeed in the transition will be the ones that use AI most effectively. And my job is to position Paragon, the Paragon stores, to be the guys, the gals, the ladies that use AI most effectively. But how do you do that? I think this is profound. AI will not replace people, but the people that effectively use AI will replace those that don't. The people that effectively use AI will replace those that don't. It's not man versus machine, it's man with machine.
At your dealership, customers always come first. Discover how you can help ensure a 5-star experience, boost CSI scores, and control costs with Uber for Business. Elevate your customer experience by providing courtesy rides to customers while their cars are being serviced. Use Central to request an Uber ride for your customer. They'll receive an SMS to track their trip. For repairs that might take a few days, provide a voucher with Uber credit that can be used on rides. Use Central to help move employees to and from the dealership with ease. Provide white glove service with vehicle pickup and drop off during service or maintenance appointments. Transport parts straight to your service bay using the parts delivery feature on Central. Uber for Business helps you optimize costs and improve operational efficiency. while taking your customer's experience from good to great. Join thousands of auto dealerships using Uber for Business today. Learn more on our website.